Benjamin Webby. I am a singer-songwriter. Hello, everybody. My name is Benjamin Webby. I am a singer-songwriter, recording and live performing artist, and I am just about graduating from Centonomy Entrepreneur. But first, let me tell you a little bit about how I got to knowing about Centonomy Entrepreneur, which is the class that I'm graduating from. My wife had joined initially and done Centonomy 101, and it was an amazing class for her. She learned a great deal. And during the time when she was in the process of learning, she'd come home and share with me and tell me everything about what they were taking out of the classes. And she was a hard act to follow because I wasn't in the classes. It got to the point where I realized it would be very important, very helpful if I would enroll for a class myself and experience it for myself, which is what I did. And I registered for this class. And it's been an amazing experience, the best investment I've made with my money so far. And I've loved it. I've loved also the people that I've met, the experience of learning together with them and growing from one place to another. And it has impacted my business as an artist in various ways. I now run what is called Webby Music, which is an enterprise on its own that represents what I do as an artist. As I said before, I sing, I write music, I record, and I play live. One of the things that came out very strongly for me during the class was being able to define a vision for what it is that I do. In the context of just understanding that everything that we do and everything we're about has to have a bigger picture. And just being able to think through what that is for me and being able to really put it down on paper and then ask myself the questions that are pertinent to that, that was a very strong thing for me. And in applying all of those things, or in learning all of those things and how they apply in my business as an artist. By the way, you don't actually get to hear very many artists who have decided to, formalize their business enterprises in this way. So this was also a first in a sense, unless of course I'm here to hear about something new that hasn't happened before. But what came out for me in this is just being able to separate myself as an artist from the structure of being an artist. And Webby Music now basically runs independently. I decided to separate my money, which is another thing that came out for me in the class, separating personal finances from business finance and being able to account for all of that, being able to understand how to allocate it, and that if I need to allocate it, I need to allocate it to the things that are helping me to cultivate or to grow my business and to push it forward. I've enjoyed this class immensely because there have been so many other things in the course of 11 weeks that have been taught to us, that we've had conversations around, and has helped me to see things from a very different perspective, a perspective that I didn't have before. What I didn't tell you is I've actually been doing this for the past 14 years, and for the entirety of those years, I've basically operated as one block. The artist, the money, the projects, the videos, everything about me being an artist has always been just one thing, and for the most part, until maybe very recently, it's not always been centered around a big vision. All I've always known is I want to make great music, I want to make people happy, and I want to create a legacy. Now I can legitimately create that legacy because there's structure, there's a destination, and I've also decided that there are a couple of things that are important for me to achieve, and those things are now what I'm focusing all of my energy on. So once again, I really appreciate having had the opportunity to do this class. It's definitely changed my life, my perspective, and it has enriched the conversations that my wife and I have, because now we're able to read from the same script, which is a very important thing, given that this also affects all of our futuristic plans as a couple, and also in context of thinking about how this is going to affect our children. For every single person out there who hasn't done this course, I would strongly encourage that you do, because this is definitely going to change your perspective. It's going to get you to look at your business or your business idea very differently. It's going to give you the impetus to take the step of courage to starting something, the one thing that you've been thinking in your mind you want to do and have never gotten around to doing or are afraid of doing. There's a method to the madness, and here's the method. Your madness has a method to it, and it will be amazing to see what comes out of every single thing that you endeavor to do, that you apply yourself out there to do. Hello, everybody. My name is Benjamin.
want to learn from people who have been there. I want to learn from people who are doing it, and I can see that they are successful. Success is relative, but at least there is something that I can see they are doing. So I knew different organizations that are offering this kind of support, and there's nothing wrong. But then what appealed to me is, at that point, Centonomy started doing this blast. I am not the CEO. You know who said that, right? I am not the CEO. And I was like, woman, you are bold. And what have you done to step away and to allow the organization to grow? And that really drew me closer. And I said, I would really like to engage with Centonomy again. Yeah? So I came in. Now, the first class, when I came, I remember Waceke was taking us through. And she said, I can't remember how many seconds it was, but it was that turn to someone. Was it 15 seconds or 30 seconds? It was how many seconds? 30 seconds. Introduce yourself to somebody, tell them what you do, have a chat, then 30 seconds done, move to the next one. 30 seconds done, move to the next one. By the third person, I asked myself, what is that I'm saying again? You know? So by the fourth person, I was starting to not change, because I was actually saying the right thing, but it's about the narrative. Yeah, you'd think I'm a marketer, and also you'd think I say, oh, I know how to frame it, but you know, it's always about continuous improvement, right? So from that, I was like, okay, that's good. Then we fast forward, we go, and is it Sheba who took us through about fear? Yeah, and for the record, Waithaka, I'm stealing that whole model, because, thank you, because it works. And the question was, what are you scared about? What is the fear that you have? And you know, you write it, but it was from spiders as a lady to going broke, right? And the question was, if all that happened, what would happen to you? Then what would you still remain with? And out of what remains, what would you do? And for me, that was like, okay, even if the classes stop right here, I'm okay. Yeah, I'm okay to continue. But then we continued. For me, the first couple of sessions were very foundational. Yeah, because the question was, remember the entrepreneurial vehicle? Yeah, and I hope I get this right. I think there's something about your fuel. What is your fuel, right? Why are you doing what you're doing? What irritates you? What is that thing that just makes you uncomfortable? And for me, I realized, oh my goodness, it is just that lack of alignment in what business development is doing, to what marketing is doing, to what client experience is doing. And just seeing that at times, even the people in there, they're not able to have those conversations with the board. They're not able to have conversations with the top leadership. And most of the time, you're on the expense side of the P&L, right? It's hard for you to articulate your value and even to develop to talk about that value proposition that your organization is taking forward. So I was like, okay, for me, those are the things that really jabbed me. I'm like, okay, can I help you? Can I just help you about this? So from that foundational part of the course that we were doing, it really made me think about what I'm doing. It really made me think about what I'm passionate about, how I'm engaging with organizations. Even if it is my former employer, even if I'm to go there, what would I say I'm going to do for them? You know, because you need to be able to customize some of the solutions that you have. So that bit of it was foundational. And there's so many other things that we learned about. Then we went into the more technical bits of it, and I hope that this was intentional. That was my interpretation of the whole course, the way it was structured. I don't know where I would have met some of these people that I got to meet. Yeah? I don't even think I would afford them for 1 hour. Yeah? For 1 hour of their time. Because they are so experienced. Yeah? And just sitting down, it wasn't theoretical. My best times were because they came and they told us about their failures. They told us where they did it and did it well. They told us, oh, when we began, this is where we were at. We got some shareholders who came in a short while. They had to leave. We had to get loans. Then we had to do this and the other. And I was like, okay, truly, this is what I needed to hear. Now, did I immediately start changing things? At some point, it gave me structure. Some things I had done. Back to, I can't remember at what point, but I think we did the business model canvas. I had done it, but being that we held conversation and heard about how someone else had done it, I went back and redid all of it again because I'm thinking you had missed this and this and that. So what I'm saying is that it is not that some things were brand new, but what was new was listening to people and how they're able to articulate it. Some things I really did not know, to be honest. You remember the something capital, I can't remember. 10% and the 30% and the in-between. That was what? Raising, yeah, that one. And then there was the another one for managing the working capital, right? For me, I mean, they are really ecstatic, those classes, because you really get to think. I beat myself a lot because we as entrepreneurs, we as people, and even if you're coming from corporate, even if it is your side hustle, and then you're thinking, I have some money that I want to inject. Half the time, at least I did not sit back to think, what return is it giving me as an individual? Yeah, for me, that was really a value add because you just push it in, you're not thinking that this is the same way someone would give me money to return at a certain point in time. So every class that we've gone through, there has been a takeout for me.
Good morning, everybody. It's about 2 minutes to 10, so we'll be starting shortly. I encourage you, wherever you are around the world, get yourself a pen and paper because we're going to learn a lot today. Welcome to the Centonomy Entrepreneur Chats. It's going to be a fun time. We've got some great speakers for you. Everybody's ready to go. So I encourage you, wherever you are around the world, please do get yourself a notebook and a pen, and it will be great. We'll be able to share shortly in the next 2 minutes or so and get started. 1 minute now. So prepare yourself. It's going to be great. All right, everybody. It is 10 a.m. and as much as possible here at Centonomy, we try and respect our time. It is so useful because time is money, and that's what we're talking about today as well. It is such an honor to have you here with us all around the world. We're in a kind of a slightly different environment. In case you've ever attended some of our webinars before, we're now using a different format here on the Zoom platform. But for those who are watching on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, I think we're all on those platforms. Don't worry, you're just in the right place. Do participate, do type in your questions and ask your questions in the chat box in whichever area that you are, in the comments below the video that you're watching. But for those who are here on the Zoom platform, we're going to interact in a couple of different ways. If you have just a comment, something that caught your attention, I like people have already started sharing. Thank you so much, Judith Karanja just saying, yeah, she's tuning in from South B, Nairobi. Just glad to be here. We've got a couple of others like Nancy Washira, who's also saying from Athi River, Paris as well. Yeah, if you have a comment, you can feel free to type it in the chat box. However, if you do have a question, there is a tab at the bottom or top of your screen, whichever way your orientation is, that has Q&A. So I'll invite you, if you have a specific question, as the speakers, as those who are participating in this session are speaking, and it's a question, I'd encourage you to write it in the Q&A section. It's a bit easier for us to manage. Then we can know what we're responding to, rather than having to go through all the various comments. Because I know you, I know that you get excited along the way, just as I do, and you say, wow, that was a great point, and you type it in there, or I can relate to that, and you type it in there. So sometimes trying to find all those comments is quite difficult. So if you have a question, I encourage you to write it in the Q&A section of the within the Zoom platform and participate in that way. You guys are already ahead, for sure. For sure, you have been at some of our Centonomy Entrepreneur Chats before. I always ask this, yes, if you can, now in the chat box, so that everyone can be able to see, write it to the panelists and to the attendees. Just let us know, where are you in the world? We've got people from, yeah, especially this, the area of Eastern Africa. Thank you so much, Karanja. You're Kenneth Karanja, you're tuning in from Arusha. We've got, Clara is here in Nairobi. Agasaro, I hope I got that right, from, yes, Agasaro, yes. Rahma, tuning in from Kigali in Rwanda, excellent. So just let us know where you are in the world. Grace from Nyeri County. Hey, Marcus from China. Shiko in California. Wow. Hey. I will not try and pronounce the first one, but Chao from Hong Kong. Eric in Kikuyu. This is Rosemary, Nairobi, Mombasa. Eldoret, excellent. So you can see we've got quite an amazing group of people in the room. The experience in the room is completely is different, and so we'll be taking on some of those experiences and trying to apply them to what we're discussing today. What a pleasure to have you here, Sharon, all the way from Israel. Where in Israel are you? Exactly. Let us know specifically. We might be able to know. Anne is in China as well. Where in China? You have to let us know. Benson in Bungoma, excellent. Very good. All the way. Wow. John Kaiser, all the way from Dar es Salaam, excellent. Wow. Nancy, excellent. Guys, this is amazing. We've got, as I said, we've got experience from around the world. What we've realized is that there's a hunger for this knowledge. And as we go through, yeah, just let us know as you join in, where you're joining in from. Thank you so much for everybody who's on YouTube and Facebook as well. We've got a couple of those coming in as well. Gala, that's Gala, I hope so, from Dandora. Nancy is also tuned in here, and you're in Kenya as well. Thank you so much. So welcome once again. Just to let you know, my name is Waithaka Gatumia. I'll be moderating this session. I also serve as CEO here at Centonomy. If you're watching the video just before this, yeah, I've been part of a huge transition here in the company. The company has been running for now 12 years, and our founder had been CEO for many of those years. It is now just over 2 years ago that she made the huge move and actually left that position as at the helm of the company, specifically as the CEO, and allowed for us to be able to get to that place in which we can have that transition. And it was amazing to be able to be part of that whole shift within the company. What does that mean in terms of growth? How does your company grow to that point? And it was so amazing to be part of that whole discussion and to see from inside what that looks like. And we want us to be able to build just the same way. The theme for today is the empowered entrepreneur. And just as I was mentioning, it is how to free your business for growth. Because even in that move, by the grace of God, after that move, now you can imagine the experience of having a our founder, as part of the governance body of the company, she was offering that oversight capacity to the business, whereas now the team was freed now to have that energy to go out and actually build. And yeah, by the grace of God, a year into that transition, we had our biggest year ever as Centonomy. And it is truly about freeing your business to grow, giving it the possibility for it to be able to achieve all the things that are coming through. So it is such a pleasure to have you once again. As I said, we'll be engaging more and more as we go through. The Centonomy Entrepreneur Program is also simply about wealth creation. We have a mission here at Centonomy, and our mission at Centonomy is to shift mindsets so that purposeful people like yourselves can create wealth and live abundantly. So when we talk about a purposeful person, that means somebody who has made a decision, who is making choices towards the goals that they have. We are clear that you are a purposeful person having joined here on whichever platform you are, because on a Saturday when you could be seated back and watching a series or just going out with your friends and doing, you have invested some of your time to be with us. That means you have a purpose, you have a goal, a direction that you're going for. And you're saying, out of that purpose, how do I begin to create wealth? And that's what our mission is here at Centonomy. We have also realized that entrepreneurship, starting, building, growing businesses, great businesses, is one of the main ways that wealth is created on this earth at the moment. In fact, I challenge you to look through, if I'm sure you must have, just like me, if you're an entrepreneurship a fan like myself, you've gone through various lists of the wealthiest people around the world. I encourage you to go through them and just have a look at the stories that are there. Almost 100% of them at the top of the wealth creation journey, no matter what country you're in or on the globe, are involved in entrepreneurship, starting, growing, and building great businesses. This is how to build value in the economy. And so the fact that you're in this room means that you're part of that group who wants to build that value. And as you do so, how do you free your business in order for it to be able to create wealth for you and get into that space? So we've been doing this program now for many years, and we've had, as you've seen through the videos that were playing before this, I encourage you to subscribe to our YouTube and to our Facebook page so that you can get this information on a regular basis. We've had hundreds of entrepreneurs come through the program, and each one of them has left with that knowledge that is helping them to build their business. You can check those testimonials out as you go through our social media pages, as well as our website, centonomy.com. I encourage you to check that out. We'll be telling you a little bit more about the program itself later on in the session, but you have come here to hear people's personal experiences. And let me tell you, you have no idea how excited I am by the panel of entrepreneurs who we've got for you today to share their experiences. It's going to be amazing. The breadth of knowledge is simply awesome. And I'm so excited to invite to the screen. I can see you've logged in right now. I'll invite our first speakers for the day. They almost do not require any kind of introduction. They are faces that we have seen around the world. Essentially, these are Kenyan superstars, East African superstars with songs that have gone around the world. Everyone is just singing those the songs that we have from these wonderful artists, both of them, Nameless and Wahoo. And the fact that they come from one family, this is, I think this is unfair. You cannot hoard all the talent in one family. So I'll encourage Wahu, if you can switch on your video where you are. We're ready for you now because you're going to be sharing your entrepreneurship journey as you have. Just hold on 1 second.
Hi guys, we are trying to open, but it's you guys are refusing.
We have refused.
You have refused.
Hold on 1 second. We shall include you in this whole.
You can't start your video because your host has stopped it.
Try now and see if now we have given you permission, the right permission to do so.
Let me see.
There we go. Hey. Now, I was complaining a few seconds ago. You cannot hoard all the talent in one family. It is unfair. Where are the rest of us supposed to go?
Nakata. Lazima kukuwa nyumba moja. No, but thanks for the intro.
Yes.
I'm also so excited. Me and my wife are very excited about being part of this. This discussion.
Yeah.
And the experience in Centonomy, like straight up, was amazing for me.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it was amazing for me. Like I didn't even, I knew that I was in a space that needed to know a bit more, but I didn't expect, like, you know me, I've not been in school for so long. So I was like, Maze kurudi shule.
Was it like school, the way that you had experienced?
No, that's the thing. It wasn't like school, you know. And I thank God that I did the course. I did it before her.
Wow. So then he influenced me to
because
do it.
mimi ndio mwanaume wa nyumba. So so immediately I did it. Immediately I started when I went the first 2 days, the first two classes. I started, I was like, wow, this is amazing. So she kept noticing my journey and I kept coming back to tell her my experience and all that. Yeah. And she was like, wow. I gotta do it. Yeah, and towards the end, I was like, you have to do this course because she's also a fellow entrepreneur. Yeah. So we're excited. Thank you for having us.
Well, we're here about freeing our business for growth, and yours is especially a great experience because for many artists and especially people in the entertainment world, the business tends to be the person. It tends to be you yourself. You are the whole business. In the program, if you remember, we call it the owner-dependent business. You remove the owner from the business, there's nothing left.
There's nothing.
And so we'd be interested in hearing your story. I know you have an amazing story that you want to share, both of you. Let me not take any more of your time. Take it away. And if you need any assistance, just let us know, and I'll be here as well. I just want them to remove my face from the screen now.
We need to see faces, man. You know, we are used to seeing faces as we are, you know, but it's all
I'm
good.
sure you must be missing. I'm telling you, missing live audiences, isn't it?
No, it's crazy. It's crazy. Yeah. So it's all good. It's a new experience, and it's not bad to also get a different experience. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. So let's get into it. Let's get into it. Yeah. Man, how can I make my screen bigger? Anyway, so I know we have participants from all over, so I'll just reintroduce myself and my wife. Yes, my name is David, and my artist name is Nameless. I've been in pop music for 20 years. 20 years. 20 years, and I got into it when I was still in campus, and we both got into it when we were still in campus. So I'll just give a basic journey, just to give a background of my journey. I was studying architecture and I had a passion for music and creating. I think I just love creating things for people. Yeah. So I got a bit of interest to do some music as a hobby, because at that time we didn't look at it like something that can be a career. You remember that that time, yeah. So when I got into it around the early 2000s, that's the time urban pop music was beginning to be a big thing, you know. So when I interviewed a few guys in the industry, I was trying to understand how are you able to monetize this music that we are releasing. And what I got to understand was live performance was what was bringing most money, because sales wasn't as big as it is becoming now because of the digital platforms. And back then there was a lot of, piracy was really stopping us from making money from that, exactly. So we started around the same time, and we had just started dating at that time. I think it was such a coincidence, because a lot of people think we met in the entertainment space, but we were just two college kids who happened to enjoy music. So in our free time, we would jam, create songs, and that sort of thing. Exactly, yeah. So when we got into it, I honestly was getting into it because it's just something I was loving to do, but I was studying architecture. You never thought it was going to be a career. We really didn't think I was going to turn into a career. So I look back and I was like, the one thing that I think was helping me was a bit strategic. So I was like, okay, I try and understand how the business works. How do guys earn and all that, and be like, okay, how do I mold my talent or gift to be able to earn? But as we got into it, we started building up, and it was kind of like a revolution at that time, you know.
Yes, that's when the FM stations had started taking off.
Yeah,
because we had the Capital FM.
Yeah.
What was it? All the FM stations
Kiss
sort of
FM
just
started,
Kiss FM and all that sort of happened at the same time. So it gave us an opportunity.
Yeah. So funny enough, initially, in fact, when I was telling my parents I'm just doing this music thing, it was more to pay school fees. It was more like
a good boy.
Yeah, no, like straight up. It was more like, yo, you know, I was telling my paros like, yo, I mean, I can earn something from here. And so for the first 3-4 years when I was still in campus, that was like the thing. It was like
you didn't come, and neither did I come from a privileged family. So any extra money was
any extra money was helping out. But as we got into doing that, as it was like a hobby, it started becoming like, wow. By the time I was finishing campus, I was like, wow, like this can actually be a career. Right. And I actually remember making a decision at that point and saying, you know what? I've studied architecture, which is something I also love.
And you're good at.
I'm good at, but I'm really enjoying music. I'm really enjoying the fact that I can create something and get it out there, and people can enjoy themselves, and you can earn something.
Just wait, babe. Yeah. Can you tell guys about your 6th year in Minanoki?
Oh yeah. Thanks. Yeah, 6th year was tricky because
final year.
In my final year in architecture, it's a very intense year. My brand has really started growing, you know, unexpectedly. I was under Ogopa DJs at that time. And we're earning at that time, you know, we're earning okay. You know, we're just starting off. Yeah, I remember I didn't have a car. My name was so big at that time, but you know, you're still carless.
Mega rider.
Yeah. But I reached a point where the school is really giving me pressure, you know, because the projects and my career is really taking off. So you have like the biggest song at that time, and Minanoki at that time, and you're getting shows all the time. And it had to reach a point where I had to balance. And there are times I had to say, I have to move away from entertainment because I have to focus. I remember at the time my lecturers were telling me, if you joke, you might fail your 6th year. And I was like, I was imagining a headline, Nameless fails.
Oh no.
I was like, there's no way I'm going to fail, you know? And so I managed somehow to balance it and finish my course. And
he finished well.
Yeah,
he's bad at blowing his own trumpet. He was top 3 of his class, guys, with the biggest song in East Africa, and graduating top 3.
Yeah, she's saying that because she wants to say she was helping me out.
I did that. Part of that degree was
with my degree, so it's all good. Yeah, so she benefited from that. Anyway, but so I got out of campus and I was like, wow, like I could actually take this seriously. So that's when I started now look at it like a business. Like how can I be able to earn, and where the revenue streams? I remember we look and say, there's the performance, there's the downloads, there
was no downloads, there was no
YouTube. The sales, that's how I look at it.
Yeah.
And then as I kept going on, I started seeing that corporates are beginning to be interested to use your brand to sell their products. So I'm like, oh, so there's now endorsements, you know, and being an ambassador. So that was really early. Like this was those I remember were like pioneers in that whole thing of being ambassadors. I remember I did Zoe.
We did Close Up, remember?
Close Up together and stuff like that. So you start being like, oh wow, there are other revenue streams coming as we're going. It was new to everyone, actually, you know, because
we were learning as we went.
Yeah, even corporates were learning, like, hey, can we use these guys? You know, is it too risky and stuff like that? So anyway, so slowly but surely we started growing into that, and I started noticing that in pop, you have your highs and your lows. It's in pop music because we are pop artists. So there's a time your name is really big, and then a new group of people come in, and all of a sudden your brand starts now slowing down, and others are coming. So you have to find ways to keep reinventing yourself.
That was also, that was based on research, right? You looked and say, what's happening? What are the global trends? So was big at a time, then now he's sort of.
But initially when you start, you don't know that. You you're like, what's happening? But then
and you question yourself.
You question yourself, what's wrong with my talent? Like, what's happening now?
Yeah.
But when you look around, you realize that's normal. That you come in, there's excitement, and then after some time, you have to find ways to invent. So some things I look at and I'm like, luckily, instinct would tell us, learn what's going on, have an analysis. What we realized later, we would do kind of like SWOT analysis to some extent, but we didn't go to school to learn how to do some of these things, We're in the jungle of showbiz, bruh.
At the front of the slashing the way.
Slashing the way and being like, okay, what do we do here? We have reached here and stuff like that. So that's how the journey has been, both for me and Wahu. We've had blessings, we've had highs and lows in that period of time. But it gets to a point that, as you get to a point where you're approaching your 40s, even your mind starts thinking, okay, there has to be more than this. I keep joking that it's like midlife. You start really
I'm not in midlife. Let's understand. He's in midlife on his own. I am 18.
She has refused.
Let's the minute indicate.
She dies. Me, I'm okay. I'm like, 40 is the middle of life.
No.
If our life expectancy is 80, kubali too. But I look at midlife as being a psychological state of mind where you reach halftime. I call it a halftime, where you begin to question what more is there. You start thinking about legacy. You start saying, is there more that we can do with life? And we had a small team that would help us in terms of, management, a PA to some extent, producers who help you to create your content, other visual producers who help you do videos and stuff like that, choreographers in terms of dancing, stylists also come into play. Before when we started, we didn't have stylists. We were our self-stylists. You style your own thing, and then competition keeps coming up. And wifey was one who told me, we need a stylist. And I'm like, a stylist for what? And it's, I thank God for that.
Say thank you.
Thank you, Wahu. Yeah, because you begin to realize that, you have to keep advancing with the times, So it reached a point where I started feeling I need to do more. And that's when this whole thing about Centonomy came about, because I felt in my case, I felt I was shifting from passion, which was what was driving me in my 20 years, into purpose. I felt like I need something that can live beyond me, because as you say, if anything happens to me, it's a problem, the business can't really go on. So I started feeling that there's more that needs to happen that can. I'll remind you on one thing. We have an entrepreneur friend who kept telling us, if I had your names for 1 year.
No, not even 1 year.
1 month.
1 day.
1 day. What I'll do with it. And I'm like,
Kwani, what are we doing wrong?
What are we not doing right?
But let me ask you, babe, before we go on, I think something that's probably worth pointing out is how you decided on your brand. How did you decide? What is that process of deciding what your brand looks like? Did you consciously make a decision based on the market, or did you decide based on your passion, or how did you decide what brand Nameless?
Okay, brand Nameless came about just because when I was getting to the industry, I wasn't even too sure what I want to be or who I want to be. And that's how the name Nameless came. I didn't want to be limited to any name. I tried to pick names before and I didn't want that. But my brand was really based on my personality. My brand was based, and it was just building on that. I feel like I'm the kind who tries to be as authentic as possible. And one thing about me is I'm an introvert. Right. So I'm an introvert, but I'm in a career that's very
extremely extroverted. It's too much pressure.
So Nameless came about because I didn't want to be known too much at the same time. It's a whole mix of things, the mystique from it, so that I even for the first 2 years, I would perform with a mask. So I was also faceless.
We used to get party masks.
Party masks or Zorro masks. Yeah. So that, people, so when I'm on stage, I'm Nameless, and then I could come out and be David Marenge. People call me Monsky and all that, because I didn't like the pressure that I would have to get after the stage. I wanted to just perform, and that's a person that stays away. Right. So that kind of began to mold the brand and its identity. So anyway, that's when we got into the Centonomy. But for me, Centonomy was about how am I shifting from passion to purpose.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if
I think for me, what I could say, I mean, he's covered pretty much our journey has been very similar because we've walked it together. I think that was a blessing. It was a huge blessing that we had each other in the same industry and trying to figure out what the process is. We didn't really have role models, local role models. So we had to do a lot of research as well globally. And one of the things for me, I remember at the beginning, if you recall, is I wanted to find out how do I position my brand as well. Mm-hmm. So I had tried some things that did not work, yeah, and that was okay. I felt bad, and then I got over feeling bad, and then I started asking myself, how should I position myself? And my positioning had to be based. I didn't want to be uncomfortable, right? So I couldn't be my brand because, like you said, the business is the person. It revolves a lot. It relies heavily on the person. I didn't want to be doing things that I'm uncomfortable doing. For example, I'm not comfortable wearing hot pants and, I'm not that person. So I couldn't, it's okay there are those who are okay with that, but I'm not. So, and then I'm such a go-getter. I'm so pro women. That's my personality. So I said, hey, I need to write content that makes sense for young women, right? But also is not uncomfortable for me. So I was very clear out. My target was women. It was not men. It was women, and it was more like let's be comfortable as women to go get it.
She was basically girl power, city shiki, those kind of kibawao, and
yes.
and I remember moving around Destiny Child.
Yes, Destiny Child, yeah. But also, it was not also by coincidence. That was true, but also I researched. I did a lot of market research and found out that it's the thing. And I normally tell young upcoming musicians and creatives, you're not creating content for yourself. You don't live, it's not a bubble. And the thing is, we get very passionate about our art. So a lot of the people who dial into the station to request for songs were also women. Yeah. So I said, hey, this I need people requesting my music. So it was also part of strategy, right? Yeah. And people who come for the shows, the men come for the shows because of the women. Let's be honest. Any show you go for at the front line is gonna be women.
Yeah.
So the men want to follow the women.
Yeah, that's true.
So I had to do quite a bit of research and it was comfortable for me because already I was pro women and all that. And like Monsky said, we failed along the way. Some places you fail and you learn. A lot of lessons learned along the way. And then now where we are at in Monsky's midlife, not mine, me, I'm a spring chicken, is where we are looking and saying, what is impact? What does impact look like? And how can we be more efficient and deliberate? Because we are blessed to be in a space where we do things that we love. We love music, so it's a blessing. So sometimes we take that for granted. But now we're like, it's not for nothing. This gifting is not for nothing. It's supposed to be for impact. So that's why for us also, I can say the Centonomy class it was one of the major contributors to how do we now
take our business like to the next
level.
Yeah, I think for me, just to pick from what she's saying in terms of our experience in Centonomy, is that when I went to class, the thing that I can say is I would generally be able to identify what I was doing right and what I was doing wrong. So when I was just in class, I was like, wow. So that was design thinking I was doing, because I always used to when you go to research. Yeah, when you do research or when you release music and then you adjust, so you try to get to know from the fan base, what do they want from you? So you come up with an idea, and that's how we used to even discuss in the studio. So we come up with an idea, but we're looking and saying, what are the people loving? They want to dance, they want such beats, you want to do that. So whichever message you want to put it on this kind of beat. But you'd find another artist saying he doesn't want to do that. And I always used to wonder, like why aren't you also wanting to respond to what people want, you know? And someone said, no, it's going to not, I want it to be pure and what? And then you get to a place where you see a guy is getting very frustrated because he knows he's talented, but he's not connecting the way he believes he should. But that's because he's not doing that. So when I would come to class, I would be like, oh, so that's what I was doing. And I would give myself a pat on the back, like,
I did it
that instinct was working.
Yeah.
But there are other things, and I would look and say, oh, that's what I was doing wrong, or that's where my struggle was, you know. And I remember one class called it was about fear and vision, and I remember during that class, I had guys were just whispering like, "Yo, I feel like I'm in therapy, man."
Yes, it happened in our class. I was like, I feel like I needed that.
I needed that therapy because it's very introspective and that.
Right.
And I started now realizing some things about the fears that were holding me back from doing stuff because you're fearing to fail and stuff like that.
Fear
of failure was a big one in the class. Many people were like that. And vision. And one thing that I learned.
What do you mean vision? Like
vision,
lack of clarity.
Yeah, like going for a big vision.
Fear
for
of
me,
dreaming big. So fear of success.
Yes, not fear of success, but fear of dreaming big and saying, aiming for the stars. Now, the thing about it is I realized one thing in our relationship, which used to create a lot of conflict with us. She's an optimist. Okay?
Go get her.
She's an optimist. Me, I'm a realist. Okay? So what would happen is anytime she's looking at something, she'd look at it like, we can do all that. And sometimes I'll be like, question, because I would see a lot of the risks or see some of the issues that would happen. And that would make us conflict on many occasions. But I always remember this particular class where
you said I'm an optimist. What are you?
A realist.
Yeah.
I'm a mom of a realist, right?
So I'd say
she would say I'm a pessimist.
I'd
because
say
I'm
he's
like,
finding all the reasons why this thing cannot work.
And me, I'm just like, you are so naive. There's the number of businesses, oh my God. The number of businesses she would do and they would keep gonga igukuta. And I'm like, why? But then after it gongas, she's back up.
Because I'm an optimist.
Like, that's what I'm saying. Now after the class, I realized, wow, like what I loved about that was it kind of showed that you need a balance of the two. And it made me now begin to realize that I need to get her energy so that it helps me, and she needs to get my energy because she can't keep jumping to the deep end without realizing some things. And for me, that was really good because now it's helping us also place ourselves in a position, team, in knowing your strengths. So this is your strength, and you need to. And many couples now we're getting into now, are in that situation where one is more of an optimist, one more of a realist, and they conflict because of that. But it's the mix of them. When you balance them well, then you can be able to really achieve great things.
Exactly. So what that would be, if I could jump in a little bit, what we were doing before was negative synergy, where I would feel like he's trying to pour water on all my dreams, my big dreams. And I would think that he needs to dream bigger and all that, like, come on, we can do better, That was negative synergy because it created a lot of tension. And you see that sometimes even in corporate teams where people are not focusing on the strengths, they're focusing because I think this is the right way to do things, then you're wrong. And yet for us, we would look now and say, now we're in a place where we say, it's the optimism, the optimist in the team is very important, but so is the realist. And the strategist is very important. And instead of looking at why people are not doing things the way you want, is to see how can I benefit from this person's strength. So for example, Monsky is extremely good at strategy. He's really good at identifying the strategy. He's good at what I'd call identifying the forest, right? This is the forest we need to be harvesting, right? My strength is in execution. I'll go and say, are we harvesting this forest, my guy? Is this the forest? You're sure? You get, that's my strength. But before I'd be looking at the wrong forests, right? That's the businesses he's saying failed. But I'm very good at harvesting, so I'll go and harvest the wrong forest. You get, and then it's a mess. Instead of looking and saying, how can we? And you see that playing out not only in couples, in businesses, in a team setup, where we're supposed to feed off each other's strengths and stop fighting and stop conflicting and look and see how can we synergize better. And that's the space I believe we are in right now.
I think I'm really excited because we looked at a 5-year vision. Like after the course, we did a strategic plan, and it's so funny. We started realizing that without having a strategic plan, you conflict a lot because you've not looked and said, where are we going? What's our vision? We even now created a vision statement, just as a couple, as a team, you know. This is our vision statement. This is what we want to do as we start working a lot together. This is our mission. This is how we want to be. This is how we want to get to that vision. And then doing a SWOT analysis where we start accepting this is our strength, this is our weaknesses, these are the opportunities and the threats, those kind of things now, so that we now start structuring ourselves and saying, now, whatever we're going to start doing together, because we know that we can work well together. And we'll have separate businesses, but at the same time, we want to do businesses together because now we are more aware. This was your strength, this was your strength. And we can also now say, what other strength do we require from outside their home that can now help us go to the next level? Absolutely. So for us, I would say those are the things that stood out for us. There were many other different things, but the ones that stood out for us was that in terms of the vision, in terms of being in a team and creating that and releasing up, as you are saying, we don't want to be like we are the business. We want a business that can grow beyond us, but can use our platform, can use the foundation that we've built over so long. Now we're realizing when that entrepreneur says, "If I had your names for this," now we're like, okay, we have them. Now we need to know.
We have the names.
Yeah, we need to know how to use it. Yeah. So I don't know about time. You know, we were initially saying the time is too long, and then now we're like, we can talk for a minute. So maybe you can
he can talk for a minute.
Okay.
What people don't realize is that when you come into a session like this, you're trying to summarize your life. And you see, for Nameless, I know that has been slightly longer than Wahoo's, but so that summary has to be
not slightly.
It's difficult. It's a lot more. Sorry, a lot more. And it's hard to bring all that in. But I'm telling you, you should see the responses that are coming through, guys. If you have the questions, do put them in the Q&A. And people are just saying, thank you for sharing that experience, because it shows that it wasn't just the glam that we see now. You know, when up on the screen, people don't see that journey that you have been through. And it's really great that you've been there. On YouTube, though, there's a question that came through, and I wanted just to see if we can be able to take that on board. That question was, nice to see you guys. He says, how can I get out of my comfort zone? This is Felix. And he's saying, I'm not happy with the kind of job that I do. I feel that I should do more. And you know, I can do it. Please, guys, help me. How can I get out of this comfort zone that I'm in right now?
Okay. I'll give my realism perspective. Because my optimist will say, jump out of the job and 20 an hour, let's go, you know. I would say that you start, if you look at there's something else you think you want to do, because you have to know that whatever it is you want to do, or you think you want to do, you have to tell yourself, I don't know everything, but I can be able to start learning. Even me right now, as I'm getting out of my comfort zone, trust me, this 2020, 2020 forced me to get out of my by force, but I would get her energy, optimist energy, and I want to like jump into everything. And then my realist tells me, my friend, as much as you're jumping into something else, go in bit by bit so that your mistakes are small. I remember that was a learning I got from Centonomy, that so that you don't make big mistakes, you measure your mistakes. So you be able to start separating and saying, okay, this is the job that I'm doing now. It's comfort zone, it's doing this, but there's something else I'm interested in. How do I appropriate time where I start giving time for that? And now you have that purpose. and you're like, okay, how do I divide my time? And as long as you have the discipline, that's the struggle, that you have the discipline to say, now I'm trying this, I'm building it. And then now when you start feeling, now I'm beginning to understand it, then you can now remove yourself from one. And for me, that's what I would recommend.
That's right.
As opposed to, just jump into it, because that's the thing that sometimes I feel unfortunate for some people. Because unless you're very lucky, sometimes you might jump totally out, and then you totally get and if you don't know how to handle it, it can mentally affect you. That's what I would say.
It's called, I think I'd say it's just have a good exit plan, right?
Wow.
Yeah, have a good exit plan, so that you're not jumping into nothing. So you are not happy with where you are. Have a clear, just start researching. You may not have a clear idea of where you want to be, but start researching what that environment looks like. If you need to take some classes, if you need to search on YouTube and whatever, and then slowly, like, also give yourself timelines, right? But also what I'd like to encourage everybody is to remember that we all have a purpose, and that discomfort is not by accident.
That's right.
It's about time that you started figuring out why you're really here, and start to do it, but have an exit plan.
I think we talked about it in the class, that idea of fail fast, fail cheaply, so that you test the idea before you get out there. Even as an employee, even just see, is there a market for what you're thinking about? Before you quit your job, make sure there's something already moving, and we talk about that as well. Although it's not a hard and fast rule. There's some people who have said, you know what, it is time. I'm going for it. That's the thing about this entrepreneurship journey. There's no rules. There's principles that you're building on, and each business is going to function differently within them. You guys are amazing. Judith here is asking, she's saying, was there ever a time that you kept producing music while it was not bringing money? Would you keep investing in it, or would you take your money and not be paying it back yet? That kind of idea.
Yeah, I think I would say absolutely yes. There's been lots of songs that have just gone like that. Kugonga, and there were major investments. There are some songs we look at and we'll say, we traveled, we shot. We remember when we went to Lake Magadi and we had 4 punctures, and I don't know, just many issues. We spent so many unexpected things, and we were like, man, we loved the song and whatever, and then it was my song. I still love that song, by the way. But iligonga ukuta kugonga ukuta. After all that, and I think it's so normal to not, you can't succeed all the time. You will have a lot of times where things don't work.
And the thing is, the point that's most important is to learn from it.
Yes.
So you'd be like, why didn't that work? And now that's the thing that I think for us has saved us to continue, because we adjust. We're like, maybe you may love it, like she says she loves it,
but I still love it.
But it's not connecting. So you have to know, is it not connecting because it was the wrong timing, or is it not connecting because of how it's, you have to check that and then adjust to the next. Let me tell you something that's funny in terms of strategy because of that question. I have always had an issue with like doing a full album. I tell people, can you do like 1 or 2 singles to begin to see which direction do people want to see it in? This, that. And then now when you see they like you in girl power way, like the way she did, what that means there's something there that needs a real connection and authenticness. Then now put your album more in that direction. But there's some guys who will do full 20 album, and I'm like, ask her, have you even tested one? And the guy's confident. So there's that balance.
I love that idea that I think the product cycle, especially in the artist space, is so much faster than, for instance, manufacturing or any other industry, because you're constantly bringing something new. And I love that you have that idea of testing, using a single first before doing investing in a whole album, and people don't feel that way. That's amazing. One more question. I'm telling you, they're flying in at this point. And after this, I encourage you, if you can just go through the comments and see if you can reply to some of them, the Q&A. There's some that are very specific. There's one guy who's been shouting the same question over and over again. So I'm going to ask it for you. Eric was asking, and someone else, Eric and Bonnie were asking, did you, Nameless, did you ever do any architectural work in your life after studying for so long?
Yeah. So what I did, and so those are some of the things that I looked at when I did the Centonomy course and said, I could have done this better. So what I did is I would do, for me to keep with the profession, is I would get a client and I tell them, I'm not even really doing this for the money. I'm really just doing it to keep in touch with the profession.
Yeah.
So I'll give someone advice, give him some kind of designs, and then push him to someone who, like, I have been to school, the partner. So they're like friends who work and tell them, listen, colleagues, and tell them, take up this project. This is the direction I'm looking at, but now you, and because the thing about me, I'll be maybe out on tour and all that, so I can't be following the profession all along, right? So for me, a lot of times I'll do that. I'll just start a design, partner someone, so I'm part of the design team, and then I let them do most of the work. I would not even really be interested in like the money, but more about just keeping the profession. When I look back, I look and say, well, I could have done a full structure where, you know, you create a team who's doing that. You get on my point? So those are small things that you look at and say, if I managed to do 6th year and pass well and still do the music, then you could have done the same and just create a team that's doing that. So those are small things that you begin to say, that's what I was not doing right, or stuff like that.
That's right. And look, last question, because we're over time as far as this is concerned. People are wondering, now we know you as musicians and artists. What are these other businesses that you're doing on the side? Which are these ones that you seem to have more than one?
Yes. So we definitely, like, for example, I also am in the hair and beauty industry.
Wow.
So I have a salon in Westlands called Afro Siri. Y'all are welcome. It's about 7 years old, and our plan is to scale. So we have that. This is our initial. It's our flagship, Afro Siri 1 in Westlands. So our dream is to scale and possibly enter into product development as well. Just really sink our teeth into the hair and beauty industry. That's the plan. There are things that we have also tried and failed. Yeah, we tried to do audiovisual production.
Wow.
Yeah. I think there's a time with like for myself, one of the things, and that's why I was saying I realized where the weaknesses were. Where there's a time I started a record studio, and it was supposed to also be a label, but it was there for like 5-6 years, and we survived. We did some I did a lot of stuff with advertisers and stuff like that.
That's right.
But it ended up dying off because we were noticing there was something that was not going that right, which of course, when I look back, of course, I can see that that's where it was going wrong, or in terms of the team, and this is how we should have set up the team, and the strategy was not that right, because as I've told you, I was stronger just being on myself creating, as opposed to creating a structure that can, you know, and that's where you feel it's so unfortunate if you don't have the lessons of people who have the experience, then you'll be failing and you get frustrated. So definitely that. Of course, there's some startups we are setting up, and 2020, of course, really helped us because, as I told you, when I came for the class, it's because I was like, I want to now do other things that can live beyond me, and 2020 gave me the chance to now delve into the why, delve into the plan, delve into now testing stuff, and one of them I'll be launching in, God willing, this February. It's in line with what I call my gift, which is creativity and design. One of my gifts, and one of my passions, which is also psychology and emotional intelligence, because I feel that's something that's really missing. And fashion, you know. So these are things that I'm like, wow, these are the strengths, these are the things that I want to achieve from there, these are the people I want to empower while I'm doing it, and these are things that, you know, with a good structure that can build. So some of these things that I'm not going to say too much.
You can't say everything, not everything. But I understand, and this is the thing, and especially in an industry like yours, that idea of having multiple streams of income, that's where you began at the very beginning. and not locking yourself into one industry and saying that, as you said, you have a brand name that is powerful enough to open doors in other areas, as you've been speaking about. You guys are amazing. I encourage you, please have a look through the questions they've come through on Facebook, on YouTube. Also here, the Q&A section. There are a couple of things we've tried to address as much as we can. Do reply to them. But thank you so much for sharing your story, because it's the stories that encourage people, to build the businesses that you have. Such an amazing story, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks, mate. So sasa tutoe a video, eh?
Don't worry, I'm in control. Don't worry.
Tutatolewa sawa. Ndio tujibu hapa.
Please go ahead. And thank you so much. Really appreciate your time.
All right, cool.
As you've heard, guys, there's so much to learn from the experience. But one of the things that the Centonomy Entrepreneur Program does for you, and this is what we were discussing with the wonderful team there, both Wahu and Nameless, is the idea of structure. Many of the things as entrepreneurs, because you have that entrepreneurial spirit, you have that idea of how can I test, how can I build, how can I grow, there's no structure behind it. And so as entrepreneurs, this program is designed to give you that structure. So when they said that idea of testing, we take you through the program of how to do that testing through the idea of design thinking. When they talked about making it systematic, that testing, let's say, for instance, of new products, that's the kind of thing that is structural, that helps a business not go through just one stage, but multiple stages over time. And so the Centonomy Entrepreneur Program, which is what we're inviting you to come and participate in, is amazing at this, in that we address the mindset of an entrepreneur, which is one of looking for opportunity. And then how do you take advantage of the opportunity in the market at that time, which is the design thinking option. And it's actually a process of how do you bring a product to market that is actually going to help the market, that will be profitable over time. And then one of the things we've realized is that if we don't deal with that idea of fear, because even as you go into it, and you heard the discussion that was between a husband and wife there's some, taking the risk is fearful. Anytime there's a risk element, fear comes into the picture. And so what you want to do is address it, not to address it, leave it in the background, but to address the fear and deal with it from a perspective of vision. And we address that as we go forward. The next program, as you can see, the next module, which is module 4, is how do I make money from my business? If you noticed as we were having the discussion with Wahu and Nameless, it is that idea of separating yourself from the business, that you are not the business. And therefore, how does money flow from the business to you? I think as entrepreneurs, and anybody who's ever done some level of business education, you understand how a product is sold. If you sell a product for more than what it costs to make it, you make a profit, and that's how the business makes money. But how do I, the entrepreneur, make money from my business is something that we're beginning to address. We also talk about structure and strategy within your business so that you know what's the next step. We cannot stagnate as businesses. And I know we're going to hear that from Flora, who's coming up next, that idea of moving from one stage to the next. You can't stagnate as a business. You always have to offer something new. What does the market need? After that, now we get into the technical classes, and all these classes, the modules are taught by industry experts in marketing, in digital marketing, accounting. All these are industry experts, but not only that, they also have entrepreneurial experience themselves. They've run a business themselves. So when they're sharing their insights in marketing, it's not just the theory that you learn in school, but somebody who has implemented it in their side. It's not just accounting for the sake of accounting. The accountant has also run a business and knows how it plays into the entire entrepreneurial journey. So we talk marketing, and especially digital marketing, like what we're doing today. How do you engage in this online space in an effective way? Then we talk about money. Money is a big deal. And we deal with money, whether it's accounting, working capital, raising capital, and all with industry experts, dealing with taxes. And then we'll bring in some lawyers to help you with the legal side of it, just to think about the legal structure within your business. And then we come back to the money again. Business is both a science and an art. The science of business is the money side. You have to get the money side right for your business to work. Everything else is the art. And when you express your artistic view, whether it's through HR, through marketing, through your strategies in going to the market, that now enhances the science side, which is the money side. And we discuss that as we go. And as always, at Centonomy, it's about that financial abundance, which is about that personal financial growth for you, the entrepreneur, to make sure that you don't build a big business that is successful and you are not growing yourself as far as your finances are concerned. So it is a very structured program to help you to make these structural changes to your business as you go along. Thank you so much, Nameless and Wahoo. But we've got still some amazing speakers who are coming to speak to us right now. Next up is the CEO and founder of Melvin Marsh International. She has had a passion for women, especially in the manufacturing area. When you talk about the manufacturing society here in Kenya, she has really pushed forward this agenda of women in manufacturing. Flora, I'm going to make you a co-host just now so that you can be able to switch on your video and we can get started. Flora has really reached out in multiple sectors to help us to understand how this has grown. We also just know that you've been involved, Flora, with many other oversight bodies such as the Kenya Anti-Counterfeit Agency. You've got the Kenya Private Sector Alliance, a board member there right now, working with the UN 3 Global Compact here in Kenya and in New York, as well as being a board member at SBM Bank. Flora, it is such a pleasure to have you here with us. I don't know if you've managed to get your video on. Let me see if I can assist in that way so that we can get started. You just need to click on the video. Hi, Flora. Are you there? There we go. I think your mic is on now.
Okay.
And we're waiting just for the video. You need to click on that small camera next to the microphone, and then we'll be able to see you shortly.
Oh my goodness, there it is.
There you go. Hey, good to see you.
Hi, how are you?
Fine, thank you. Thank you so much for coming to share with us this morning. You've had an amazing career, and especially in an area that many women, we want more women to get involved in this area of manufacturing, and I know you have a passion for that as well. And even around this idea, this theme that we have for the day of the empowered entrepreneur, how to free your business to grow, we're really interested in hearing your experiences. Karibu sana.
All right, thank you very much. And good morning.
Morning.
First, I have to speak to Waceke for putting me right after such a powerful team, Wahu and hubby. Hi, dear. How are you? So anyway, I hope I can share my screen. I'm doing this on a laptop, which I've not done. Oh, there you go.
Yep.
And then I hope my
let me just get my. There we go.
Not sure what's going on. Can you see anything?
We can see it. Yes. You can just.
So I need to put it in presentation mode?
That's right. Yes.
Because I can't see it.
We are seeing it now. And if you're seeing it on your screen, that's what we are seeing on our end.
Okay, with the notes.
Yes, but you can put presentation mode unless you need them.
Okay, no, I think I know my stuff. Notes. No.
So you can just go down to the bottom right corner. There you go. That's the one. Yes.
Okay.
Come up.
All right. Then, so good morning once again. And thank you for giving me this opportunity to do this. And I guess you've heard a little bit about me and what I do. Now, the problem is it's moving too quickly. So I've been in business for the last 25 years. Just last year, we celebrated our 25 years of being in business, with the Melvin's brand, which has grown over a period of, I guess that time. And maybe I'll begin, and I believe why Waceke has asked me to speak to you is just, what has been my journey. And I guess what I have done to get to where I am. So basically, like I said, I began 25 years ago. I was one of those people who never got a career calling. So through college, I was like, what are you going to do? I'm not sure. So I started doing accountancy, which I was good at, and I worked for 9 months. And then one time in college, I was at Strathmore. James McPhee called me and said, what are you doing here? And I said, I explained, and he said, why do you come for minimum classes? My passes were minimum. Everything was just complete baseline. And I said, I'm not feeling this thing. And he really challenged me and said, please be true to yourself and go out and do what you believe in. And I said, oh, but the parents, oh, but the community, oh, he said, no. It's got nothing to do with that. And that was lovely. It gave me the courage to actually go back, and I resigned. And when I resigned, my boss asked me, what are you going to do? And I said, well, there's this person. I remember he used to run a whole fleet of buses. And he used to come with a whole carton of really dirty books and say, young girl, go and write my books. And I remember thinking at that time, this is who I want to be. I want to be the one to do the work and other people clean up behind me. And my aha moment was there. I still had no idea, but now I've quit, go home, of course, get into all the trouble you can think of, from my boss, my parents. But there are a few words people around me spoke to me. Like one of the things she told me is, please go and build a legacy. Do not go and run, trading. And she showed me all her company friends who had been in trading, crazy turnovers, and all of a sudden, nothing. So anyway, I left and, went back home. And I started wondering, one of the habits I had is I never take the road traveled by everybody. I'm always thinking how to be different. So I sat at home, and one time the salt was very cakey. It was purple, wet. And I asked, why don't we have free-flowing salt? And my mother asked me, what's that? And I explained to her, I had studied abroad. So I explained to her, she's like, well, you can do it for here then, fine. Until you're looking for something to do. And there we go. So I started wondering, where do I do it? Went to the University of Nairobi, Kabete campus, which was not far from where we stayed. And I met this guy, Professor Karuri, and he started walking me through it. Before we knew it, I had a product. Remember, I had no business plan. I didn't go to Centonomy. I had read no entrepreneurial books. So everything was bootstrapping. Where are you going to get machinery? Where am I going to get this? And I come back home and tell my parents, hey, this is what I need. And I've worked out. I need a ribbon mixer. I need this. And they're looking at me like, and your problem could be what? Go ahead and get it. Oh, and they're like, no, we took you to school. We did our bit. We helped you get a job. Well, now it's up to you. And I must say that is the day I woke up and I started walking the streets, and I found a fund that was giving money to entrepreneurs. So I asked them, can they support me? And they said yes, but somebody needed to put a little bit of a seed capital, but even in their name, give an asset. So I came home and I tried again, and they were like, hell no, sorry. They said, no, this is not going to happen, sorry. And then I wondered, what next? And slowly, I think after sharing everything, my mother being a mother now took me aside and said, okay, I will take you to the bank, but I will give my security in my name. They give you your money in your name. You mess up, they're not touching my money. And she was very strict. And I said, fine. So we began, I got my machine, and we came out with our first product, which is Melvin's free-flowing salt. It was called Melvin's Flow Salt, like Flo, my name. Anyway, put it out into the market, and Chandarana was my first supermarket, put it on the shelves. 2 dozens, incidentally. A ton of salt, might I remind you, is less than $100. So that's a ton. So you can imagine by the time I make money on this product. So I took to a hotel and they were very excited, take the product, put it on shelf. And what happened is I then invoiced them. And I said, I'm coming for my money tomorrow. And they're looking at me like, tomorrow? They're like, no, we pay 90 days. Lesson 102 in business. I didn't know trading cycles. I hadn't done no research, no work. So I said, no, what I'm going to do with these people, is I'm going to wear them down. So I went every day. And I tried to wear them down. And as I was there, I listened. This guy is on the phone talking to his mother. And he says, my goodness, she's disturbing me. She wants money, but I've got to send it to her. She started packing tea. So I said, tea, why tea? And he explained that government monopoly had just been lifted and tea was being packed by anybody. So I said, oh, okay. That was a Thursday. By Monday, I was in Mombasa. I went to the tea people. I told them, I want to deal in this product. They're like, what do you know about it? I said, nothing. I'm going to learn. Anyway, they registered me, but they were a group of men. You know, there are a lot of men in the tea industry at the time. And they said, we want to see you in the evening. So I said, okay. So in the evening, they went and they challenged me. They said, who are you? What do you know about this product? How do you think you're going to come up against the big boys? And the whole time I was being very cocky, but it was sinking in that I'm really treading in deep waters. So anyway, I came back to Nairobi, went to the tea board and I said, I'm in. Went back to my professor and I told him I want to pack tea. But the words of these gentlemen never left my head. So I got home, I went to make tea and there was no ginger in the house. I was like, so I went to the shops, bought the ginger, and my aha moment was there. Who else is like me? I did a little research and I realized many people put ginger in there, whatever. And that's how my product came about. So I came out with a ginger tea, Melvin's Tangawizi, which is the one at the corner. Still today, our largest flagship. And slowly I started meeting other people in business and they helped me, they helped me build other flavors. I went into cinnamon, masala. And I must say from there, we've really never stopped. We keep evolving our products. We also went into brown rice, you can see that. And so slowly we've sort of built what I would call a strong brand. So, basically, we have a herbal salt now, we have a free-flowing salt, like I'm saying, and we are 25 years old, several awards. And I guess you want to know, what have I learned in my 25 years? How have I made this business, like Waceke would say, create me well? Not sure I've reached there, but I can share a few of my nuggets. The first one is, who is an entrepreneur? And I would say an entrepreneur, they know when to step out of their comfort zone. You see, for me, when I was challenged, I knew I've got to get out. I needed a few people to do that for me, but there I was. And they said, actually, Branson is the one who says, if your dream does not keep you awake at night, it is not big enough. And that's what I would say about being an entrepreneur. And business isn't what you have, it's who you are. Who is an entrepreneur? And I can tell you, for me, it's just this person who sees opportunities when they're there. You go against, you don't always have to listen to what people are saying. But you don't have to take it as gospel truth. I had been told I had been told many things. Persistence, we'll go through them. Readiness, what would I call a problem solver, somebody who really doesn't give up. I would say that is who you are. And that's why I have a picture of an angel, because there are times you're an angel to people, and there are times, either you want to stab yourself or others out there stabbing you. Where do ideas come from? How do you continuously keep innovating in business? And I keep saying, they don't find us, the ideas don't find us, we find them. And it is important for us. So you've got to, I keep saying it's like sleeping with your lights on. You've always got to be out there listening, talking, and your best person to listen to are your consumers. They will mention something, and if you don't get it in that split second, you're done. For example, when I'm looking to increase my flavors, I could increase what I like, and I like playing around with flavors and spices. But is there enough of a market? We always call it, what is the size of the pie and what slice of the pie do you want of it? So you've always got to be constantly looking for ideas. And I keep saying, don't let passion blind you. I love my product. And I'll give you a case in point. The other day during COVID, people stopped buying, of course, everybody was at home, locked down. So we had a big boom as they were locking down, but after that. And I remember going on one of all these Zoom calls and somebody said, follow your customer. And of course, for me, my customer was at home. So I started asking myself, how are they buying? How are they consuming? And of course, people are buying online, but still, you're not going to go on the internet and say, and say, bring me 1 packet of tea or 2 packets of tangawizi. So of course, it became the retailers that are strong on social. So we started looking for those and started giving them offers, asking them to put banners. So I was telling you a story about passion. So I decided this is a good time also to just reflect on my brand. And I went to a research company, and they said they used to charge gazillions. And this particular one said, you know what? I'm at home too. What we'll do is we'll do a dipstick. So she said, I'll look for 25 Melvin's, or I think it was like 10 or 12 Melvin's customers, and I'll interview them and find out what they think about the brand. And fortunately, they were able to put me as a tag along. So I was able to listen because, you can't tell who I am. And I heard people talk honestly about my brand. I was about, on the Zoom, I'm about to say, no, that's not what I do. That's not what we mean. That's not. But my passion did not blind me in such that the feedback that they gave me, I use it too. I took it back to the office and said, guys, this is what they're really saying. Because people will always tell you what they want to hear on your face, but what they don't want you to hear, they'll tell others. So I keep telling entrepreneurs, do not let your passion blind you. In fact, I keep telling my team, that was the most heart-wrenching time for me. It wasn't the first. I've done researches before, again, incognito. And but eventually, once you heal, and you should heal quickly, you're able to go back and really deal with whatever the issue was. There's a time our product was not Shika in Vizuri, and I couldn't understand. I had invested, we changed our tea taster, we did everything we thought we could. Until one time I went into a research again, and I went into somebody's home. Nobody knew me then, so I pretended I'm a scribe. And we asked the ladies there to tell us which brands they take, and they shared. And I had some followers. And then we went into the kitchen, and they showed me how they make the tea. We said, show us how you make the tea. And there it was for me. They took a sufuria, they cut a packet of milk, they put the milk in the sufuria, they put the sufuria under the water, the tap for water, a little bit of water, and they boil. And then they go and they pour the tea into their hand and threw it in. And I'm thinking in my head, that's not how you make professional tea. Do not put the milk first. But you know what? This is how they consume the tea. And they're my customer. So for me, that woke me up. I went back to the office and said, guys, we ideally taste tea with no milk, but we now have to taste tea with milk if we want to get the blend correct. So that's what I'm talking about. Don't let your passion blind you. You're passionate about what you do, but the consumer is always right. Being unapologetic, I keep telling people, don't apologize for what you do. When I quit and I was threatened with everything, and I can assure you I was threatened with a lot. I was not apologetic. I was scared, I was nervous, I was uncomfortable, but I kept going. There was a bee in my bonnet that I said, you know what, I'm going to trust myself and I'm going to go with this. So I keep telling people, please be unapologetic. Don't always think that I've got to please this person and please that person. Even when you go to the bank, I keep telling this joke, and I think I've told it to Centonomy before. I used to bounce checks like they were going out of fashion. I didn't even mind, because bouncing my checks 25 years ago was 300 bob. I needed to pick stock. I have no money. So I pick the stock, I write 5 checks, and then I come back. And then by the way, I've post-dated them. I've even forgotten. And I'm called, hey, your check has not gone through. But that was not even phased. I'll say, I'm sorry. What I'll do, I'll pay you tomorrow, or I'll pay you next week. Until it got to a stage where, of course, my banker called me and said, you know what, you have to look for more money. So I'll talk about that later. But as an entrepreneur, you've got to be unapologetic with what you do. The other thing I keep telling entrepreneurs, you've got to think small to go big. Had I not, you see, when these gentlemen were challenging me, young girl, how do you think you're going to go up against a monopoly that had been there for 19 years? I did come out with a plain tea, but I came out with a tangawizi tea. Which one succeeded? The one we all know, which is the tangawizi. Why? Because I went small. I went into a new area, an area that has not been attacked by everybody. Because again, when I went up against, the monopoly at the time, had I just gone with one brand, I would not be where I am. And how I prove that to you is there are about 300 registered tea companies in Kenya. Actually, there could be 5 by now. 500. How many do you know? I would challenge people to tell me more than 10 or 15. So you've got to think small. And this is what Equity did. What did James Mwangi do? He went to bank the unbankable. What did Vivo do? She went to do, she went to do fashion for every woman. Vivino, what did they do? They are the ones where you scan a bottle of wine and it tells you the qualities. These are things that were not there. It's a small area, but these are areas that you can scale. And how do you do that? How do you find out what's trending and what's going on? For me, for my tangawizi tea, I was lucky. I think it was just something that was due its time. For my salt, you see that the bad salt, came at that time. The salt was purple, which was iodine. It was sticky. It was wet, and that was the only salt in the market. Because I remember challenging my mom and saying, "Why are you buying this thing?" Because I was still living at home at the time. So people like Levi Stratus, what they did is they made money during the gold rush. During the gold rush, of course, miners were going into the mines to actually, of course, to mine. And so they had to make these hard-wearing clothes for the miners. And that is where Levi Stratus actually made their money. Yes, we are a brand, but they said, let's ride on these people who need this clothing. So you look at trends, here we have COVID, everybody's sitting at home, people are going online. I can assure you, even as much as we are going to migrate back to post-COVID, it will never be the same again. We all know what happened to Zoom. It shot up, with a growth curve that has perhaps never been seen before. So are we taking these trends and opportunities? Do we think about them? What is business going to be like? For me, I know logistics is going to be a huge area going forward, because we are all going to, close our warehouses, make your product, give it to a logistic company and let them deliver. It happens all over the world. Actually, Kenya was behind. So these are things that you're going to now, as an entrepreneur, put at the back of your mind and ride the wave. Passion. Passion is the key to success. If you're not passionate about something, you will drop it. You will drop it very, very quickly. I've been there. I've picked up products that I picked up. I'll tell you, we did white rice because we were contract packing rice for somebody. And we said, oh, why don't we do white rice? But the minute that company went down, we dropped the contract packing. I had no passion in rice. It was not my area. I didn't understand it. And it fell. So make sure whatever you do, you're passionate. The other thing I tell entrepreneurs, don't go it alone. Look at Bidco. Bidco is a family business. They have cousin, brother. Yeah, I think that, it's father, son, Vimal, and the brother who actually runs it. He's the backbone. True Foods, family business. Howlett and Packard, friends. Procter and Gamble, friends. I'm not necessarily saying you can't go it alone. I mean, James Wangi was the person. But if you look behind James, there are shareholders who are almost as large as he, okay, maybe not as, almost as large as he is. You can't carry an entrepreneurial business on your own, I don't think. For me, it's a family business. I started it. My mom was the default shareholder. Well, actually, let me sort of say default. I needed her experience. She's a seasoned entrepreneur. I needed her funding, her support at the time, as much as it was not financial. But as soon as we started, I had a brother who had studied in the States. He came home and he said, why don't you have these documented? Why don't you have this? And I said, please join us. He's an architect. So there must be something about this architectural career that we need to ask Nameless. So my brother is a director with us. He's actually the operations manager, but he's also an architect. Although he practices the architecture more, but he can do this with his eyes closed. So I keep telling entrepreneurs, don't try and do it alone. It's not easy. Finances. Where did my money come from? Initially, I got that little loan. It was not enough. I went to my circle. It was not enough. I borrowed from friends. It was not enough. I got in two people to invest in the business, but I eventually quickly asked them to leave because I realized they were just investing money, but they were not bringing me ideas. Remember, I needed people to bring me ideas. So I said, no, please get out. Please get out. And I paid them back. And then I realized something we all fear is debt. There's nothing wrong with debt if debt is used properly. I think the biggest fear we have is, oh, I will not be able to pay back. You have a running business. You know your numbers. Borrow. Start small so that if you fall, you don't whatever, but borrow and be able to pay back. Keep close to your bankers. Speak to them. Push back. The one thing I know they really hammer SMEs and young entrepreneurs. I push back like I own the world. They kept saying, oh, give us your house as security. I said, I have no security. And I would be as arrogant as that. And eventually they started saying, actually, you know what? We can take all your assets, debenture financing, stock loans. invoice discounting. There's so many ways to skin a rat. But I think we fear and we are put into a corner of debt is bad. Debt is bad if you're careless. Debt is bad if you don't have discipline. But all you do is when your money comes in, first of all, I must tell entrepreneurs, get your hand out of the kitty. Do not keep, when I began, I used to do that. I'd actually go to the club and people are seeing me taking money out of an envelope. Those are takings of the day. Very poor governance. Pay yourself a salary, pay yourself first, but get out of the kitty. So what you do is once you get your money, pay your staff, pay your loans, pay everybody, and then decide what you're keeping. Actually, not even for yourself, because you should also be on a salary. And that, I must say, is well, for me, cash is king. Cash is king when you're running a business, because what tends to happen when you're an entrepreneur and you're beginning, people push you and they say, I'll take your product, put it on the shelf, and if it moves, I'll pay you. I'll pay you back. I don't do what do they call that one? The name slips my mind. Okay, it slips my mind. But where they tell you, once it sells or whatever. No, tell them what you do. Take 3. If you're not sure my product will sell, take 2. Take 1, and I'll come here every other day to make sure. And I don't mind giving you credit, but I'm not going to give you a lot. And please guard your cash. We all have this is how we run business. Remember why I was bouncing 5 checks? Because I was using other people's money to run my business. Be selfish. Do not allow that to happen. Keep pushing. It is so important. So your inflows have to be more than your outflows, and keep that guarded. I have an accountant. Entrepreneurs are not very good with money sometimes, because you then start making wrong kind of decision. I have an accountant. She has the rules, and I say, this is what you're going to do. My work is to make the till ring, push the team, monitor, coach, and everything. Your work is to tell me how we are doing on that front. And there are times she'll come and tell me, we're not going to do this deal. And I'm like, fine. And she'll tell me the problem is the cash is not coming in as we need it. Work on your business, not in it. I heard you discuss this with Wahu and Nameless. Very, very important. One of the things we do as entrepreneurs is when you start a business, like I wanted to do the business, you start a business because you're good at it. So let's say I want to go into hairdressing, I'm good at it. I'm a fashion designer, I'm good at it. When you start a business, my friends, step back. You become the vision carrier, and you get people to do what you want to do. And the only way you can get people to do what you want to do is to share your vision. And that's why I have this thing. Standardize what you're doing. How do you open? How will you receive the whatever? How are phone calls opened? How do you open? How are emails reported? How is your social media responded to? Standardize all that, maintain it, and then improve it and say, okay, maybe our greetings are not good enough. So that if you have Peter, Paul, Jane at the reception, they know what to do. If it's a salon and you have somebody washing your hair, they're all washing in one similar way. The way they greet you, the way you do your business. And there's a beautiful book here called E-Myth Revisited by Michael Gruber. He tells you why most businesses don't work is because most businesses are about the entrepreneur. Your business does not need to be about you. You need to be able, actually, once you standardize all this, what Gruber tells you is take a week off. Just wake up and say, I don't feel like going to work, and don't go, and see what breaks down. And what breaks down means you've not standardized it and you've not infiltrated it into the system. I learned this the hard way when I think 4 members of my sales team quit on the same day. And I'm telling you, that's when I found this book, because I was wondering, what's wrong? And what was wrong is I kept attacking them. I kept shouting, you're not doing this the right way, putting a lot of pressure, and still I'm demanding numbers. And once I did this, I then wrote and standardized a lot of things, and slowly now it's a system. When you come in, we give you this huge orientation pack. We have a portal that trains you, shows you how we do things. And right now we are currently documenting the way we sell as Melvin, so that anybody can actually come in and do that. So this is really important. This is a rule I'll tell any entrepreneur any day and twice on Sunday. Invest in yourself. You're the vision carrier. You're the one taking the business. So take time and one of the ways I do this is I read a lot. If you come and look at my library, which you can see back there, it has a lot of self-help books. It has, when something challenges me, I first go and try and read it, and then I look for a professional to walk me through. I don't always do classes. I can take a friend for lunch and say, explain to me this, explain to me what is a blue ocean strategy. Explain to me this, explain to me that. And it's brilliant. You get quick learning, and then you go back and learn. The other day, I took myself to school for project management because I realized we're finding it hard to get projects running on time. And so I took myself, these days, okay, we hired a project manager, but I'm able to know when he's telling me scope your work, he's telling me let's do this. I get it. It's important as an entrepreneur to always be learning. I cannot say that more. People build a winning team. You must have a winning team. They say hire for attitude, train for aptitude. It is better to have somebody with the right attitude than somebody who has the competency and has a poor attitude, because poor attitude helps no one. It doesn't help the team, and it doesn't grow your business. And I don't believe you can be an entrepreneur with a bad attitude. And if you are, well, good luck. It doesn't take you very far. You need to have a very positive attitude. So this to me has become really, really important. We do a lot of, for us hiring people, we don't take it for, before I used to just have a conversation, I like this person, and I like talkative, confident people. So I tend to hire those, and you tend to find, oops, maybe they don't have this other side. So we have a very rigorous training interview process. Number one, we don't interview as a panel. I think panel help people hide behind panels. I will interview I'm the one who does the aptitude. I get the technical team. If he's coming in as a T, in the T testing, the T testing people will do the competency test, and then say this one is everybody in our team. If you're coming to work with us, you will do 4 or 5 interviews, and we'll then do a final interview called with a psychometric, and then have a final decision on whether we are taking you or not. Most likely, we'll also give you a case study, show us what you do, and that shows us somebody's depth. Do they like presenting? Do they like PowerPoint? How do they present themselves? And it has helped us a lot. Do we get it wrong? Of course we do. We still do. But it has really, really, really helped us. And once in a while, when I don't know what to do, when I'm not sure, I use my board members to actually now I say, you're very good in this area. Please just see this person for me and tell me what you think. So once you've got the right people on inside, then you train them, you mentor them, you coach them. For me at my level, because I'm trying to step out of the business, I now spend my time training, coaching, mentoring. Training, I'm not a trainer, so what I'll do is I say, I think this person lacks this skill. Can we find, I'll go to HR and say, can you find this for them? Mentoring, I will mentor, and I'll say, because like my direct reportees, I want them to start thinking like me. So I'll tell them, I want to see you once a week or once in 2 weeks, where we'll go through what I think you should be doing. And then once in a while, I'll coach them based on where I see their failures are going. And this is a culture we've decided this year, we are going to now train people on how to do it. So because I want my managers and my sales people to be doing this. And then of course, get the right people on the bus. And you know what follows? Get the wrong people off the bus. Very, very important. You have to have a muscle to fire. My first 3 years, I couldn't fire. So remember, my mom was my partner. I would call her and say, this and this person needs to go. And then I'll disappear. At the end of the month, I pay salaries. Then I run away for 3 days because I'm scared. What will that person do, their family and everything? But it's a muscle. You build the muscle and you go on. So these days, what I've learned is I can fire you, by the way, and retain your dignity. Number one, I'll tell you something like, hey, it's not working. How much time do you need to find another job? And I tell you, it's better for you if you retire, if you sign off, then I do it, because 3 years down the line, when I'm not here to protect your name, somebody will say this person will fire them. You write the letter, and it's starting to leaves them with their dignity. They're able to go on, but you just know this is not the right place for you. I can't say the importance of networking. My position, my time at CAM, I was the chair of CAM, took me from my business. CAM was, by the way, it's a voluntary job. 40% of my week, sometimes 60, sometimes 80% of my week would go to just that voluntary work. But what did it do? The networks I created really, really built my business then and continues to do so now. Join professional associations, join networking associations within your business, the ones that will really, really, really make a difference. Remember to listen, change, innovate, learn to pivot. How do you improve? It's a constant growth. It's always have, like I every so often I do a strategic plan with a professional. And then now the other day, what I did is I got the professional. I told them, I'm not interested in another plan. I'm interested for you to come and tell me, why aren't we able to work our plans? And we spent a lot of time during COVID. Thank God we had the time. And we realized we are poor in project management. And that's why I told you, then we went in this year, for a whole year, we're hiring a project manager to come and teach us how to do it, and come and teach us how to do it. And I keep telling my team, are you learning? Are you learning? Because next year, this person will not be here. So we need to know how to do this. So it's always important to keep changing, adapting, innovating. By the way, incidentally, if you're not changing, you're dying. That I can tell you for free. And I think the entrepreneurs. We did have a tea house. We opened a Melvin's tea house. I thought, oh, let me teach people how to do tea. And I wanted to do tea cookies, tea. This was at Lavington Mall shopping center. We did it for 6 years and we failed. Didn't work. I think the model was wrong. We needed a kitchen. We didn't know that at the time. We were not making money. We subsidized it for 6 years. It was good marketing, but it didn't work. But we had the guts to sort of look at it in the face and shut it. And God loves us. We shut it one day before the president announced COVID. So it was good for us because we would have really been suffering in this lease that was not cheap. So sometimes in business, have the heart to just say, hey, I gave it a shot. We haven't killed the idea. We just need to relook at the model. But this is not the time, of course, with COVID. And this one is plan with the future in mind. When you, as an entrepreneur, you need to have that crystal ball. You have to be looking into the future. What is going to be there. Watch trends, listen. We're very fortunate. We're in the third world. There's a first world. Look, what are they doing in my space? What can I do? But also, what can we also do as Kenyans? I also feel we run sometimes too much to copy when we have so much here that we can do. And that was one of my passions of starting my company. I want to see Kenyan tea packed in Kenya, selling in shelves internationally. Because if anybody understands the tea industry, only 2% of packaged tea leaves Kenya to go and be in shelves. Yet we export 95% of our tea to the rest of the world. So meaning we take it in bulk, they break bulk, they call it Kenya if they feel like, and if they don't, they don't. So for me, I think it's really important for you to be a disruptor. There's a lot of information around that. It's around persistence, it's around teamwork, it's around this rock, you keep pushing it, and when you get tired, take a break, wake up tomorrow and push it again. In summary, starting a company is like throwing yourself on a cliff and assembling an airplane on the way down. You have got to survive. You've taken the risk, you've got to be committed, you have to have the passion, but you also have to do the hard work. Asante sana.
Wow. It's amazing. As we're going through the presentation, I was looking through the questions because I'm trying to multitask at the same time. So I'm listening to what you're saying and listening to what people are responding. And it's as if you are reading. Were you reading the questions at the same time? Because you
not
were
a chance. I'm not even sure what's going on here.
You were responding to the questions as they were coming in, because you mentioned now with your people, this is the kind of thing that you want to go. And it said at that very moment, someone was saying, how do you hire the right people for your team? And you went through the whole system that you go through, and you went into the financial side, you went into the innovation side. I think you answered pretty much all the questions that were there, except one I saw that came through that was saying, Flora, you seem very tough. How did you develop that toughness for business? I know you've talked about developing that muscle for firing people, but there's a resoluteness to you at this point. How did you develop that in your business career?
What would I say? It's a muscle. I did not start like that. I did not start with that kind of confidence.
Yeah.
But and how do you build the muscle?
Yeah.
I think there's something I didn't speak about. I'm struggling on this camera. There's something I didn't speak about, which is I have a board of directors. And how did this come about? Yeah. One time I needed money and I kept saying I need money, and I went to this what did you call it, a financial organization, and I said I need to borrow money.
Yeah.
And they looked at me and they were like, why do you need to borrow money? And I showed them and they said, bring your balance sheet. And they looked at my balance sheet and they said, your money is with people, you're not collecting. And that's when you realize you don't have a you don't have all the ideas. And he said, form a board, I will be your first board member and I will help you think. And that's that was one of the ways you grew. You grow by having people who are smarter than you, who have been through it, pick your weaknesses, and you'll get those kind of answers.
Yeah.
And they will help you grow. I mean, I remember when I first put my board together, I knew I needed somebody in distribution. I knew I needed somebody in sales and marketing. And the guy just walked in and said, "I've looked at your business, and I just want to ask you a question." And I said, "What do you mean? What is it?" And he said, "Is this business confused because the CEO is confused, or is this market, this industry like this?"
Yeah.
You know, so you've got to pick people who literally are able to talk to you honestly and help you develop. Number two, get a coach. If you can, get a coach, because then you take your problems to your coach. "I'm weak at this, I'm good at that. Oh, thanks. I'm weak at this, I'm good at that." And your coach will help you build your muscle. But I definitely did not start like this. No. I mean, I used to run away from my own office. What's that?
What's encouraging about that is that it seems to me, as you said, it is a process. And for those who are in an earlier stage of the business, maybe they've not even started, they can understand that. Imagine you can start fearful when you're afraid. I think that's really important. Thank you for being so honest about that. Someone here, this is on Facebook, this is Shiro. She says, "You sound very intelligent," and I agree with her along the way as you've gone. And one of the things within your team, you've mentioned a couple of things that didn't work the way you expected it. How do you debrief the team on such things, especially projects that you've been passionate about, and you're saying, "You know what, this is not working"? How do you ensure that you still motivate your team?
I'll give you a case in point. We started with plain tea, remember, and then we went to the ginger tea.
Yeah.
So the plain tea died and the ginger tea succeeded. So we then continued to, I said, no, I still have to be in this plain tea. And I came up with another name, Taifa Tea. We started premium tea, Taifa Tea. We went to Chayafia. We went to another one. And we had done now 4. And I keep telling them, "You guys, you're not good salespeople. You're not able to do this work," and etc. And eventually they kept telling me, "No, but we need to call it Melvin's. We're not succeeding." Because I kept telling them, if you say Melvin's, it's synonymous with Tangawizi, and it won't work. So they said, no. We've got to put Melvin's in front.
Yes.
So we did a research, and I said, "Okay, fine. I'm going to stop being emotional." And we did an external research. Got somebody to do it. And true to the word, he came back and said, "If you want to succeed, you've got to call it Melvin's on the face." Wow. And we went into designing, and now I was so upset. I was emotionally injured, and I stepped back, and we came up with a design that replicates the Tangawizi, but it's a black tea called Melvin's Premium Pure Black Tea. And we put it in the market. We managed to list that product into the supermarkets in November. November, they never list. But they listed it because it had so much familiarity to the other one. So you see, I was emotional holding on to something they had been telling me for 5-6 years. No, maybe 10 years. And I'd been refusing. So of course they started telling me, "You see, you're not always right." And I told them, "It's true. Customer is always right." So you've got to be humble enough. And lately I've learned to take humble pie. Even if I lose my temper on somebody, I'll call them and I'll say, "I'm sorry." And I'll say it in public. Because you're interested in the business. And I keep even telling them, even now, if you want to give me feedback, because I think the brand is now bigger than me. And we're all interested in chasing the same thing. So you've just got to have that muscle. Of course, I'll come home and I'll be upset, but it's not about me anymore.
Yeah. Wow, the brand is bigger than you. And I think that's the dream of all entrepreneurs, that the business will grow beyond even what you had expected. I love that you've really mentioned your team members and how important they are. It's amazing. I don't know if you can, there are a couple of now more specific questions that have come through the Q&A section. And so you can be able to just go through and see if you can respond to a couple of them. But from us here at Centonomy, we are so grateful. Thank you for giving us your time and sharing your story so honestly, because we're able to see that it's beyond just you. So thank you so much. I'm sure if you look even at the comments elsewhere, you've challenged us all. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you very much. I'll try and answer what I can.
Please.
But it's been an honor, and thank you, Waceke.
Thank you, Flora.
Yeah.
Hi, Sheke.
Right.
Hi.
I've eaten into your time. Just a couple of seconds as I let people know about how to register for the program just now. It's amazing to have everybody here. Karibu sana. I just wanted to let you know that the program is starting this February. kindly just be aware. On the 16th of February is when we begin the program, and you can register today. You can register at a discounted rate because you've shown up for this session, which is the Entrepreneur Chats. It's only 1,100 shillings to register. Please note this, the course goes for 14 weeks, but you only come for one class in the week. You choose one day that you come in. We have the class running on Wednesday, Tuesday, and Saturday. Wednesday, 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Tuesday is from 9 a.m. to 12 p.m. and Saturday, 9 to 12 p.m. as well in the morning. East African time, it's only one class per week. So the same class is running throughout the week. You can register today for only 1,100 shillings, a special offer for you guys because you tuned in today on this session. And the installments on the tuition fee, you can pay in installments every month, 19,000 shillings the first month, 19 in the second, and 13 in the third month. As I said, we are on a discounted rate during this whole COVID lockdown because we know the effect that has been there for entrepreneurs. As we said, we are there. And you can begin to do that through this M-Pesa number that's on the screen, 986850. You can write your name and then ENT so that we can recognize which program it is that you're coming for. As Flora was speaking, I was just so amazed because when she spoke about standardizing the systems within your business, it just reminds me of one of the modules that we go through called process mapping, which helps you to begin this journey as early as possible. As I was listening to Flora, I was just saying so much of this information is out there in the world. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. We would love to be there to help you as you build your business. Next up, founder of Centonomy, and she's had a huge effect on the entrepreneurial journey of so many people around this country. You know how Waceke Nduati, she's an author, coach, founder. Waceke, please share your experience with us.
First of all, I don't know why Flora was saying she's scared after coming after Nameless and Wahoo. Now I'm like, I should never have gone after Flora. So, but I think all the speakers, Flora, Nameless, Wahoo, I'm just feeling like I have nothing else to add. I think you guys, everything I was going to say really, really has been summed up in what they've actually talked about. And even when I speak, I promise you, we did not actually meet to talk about what we are all saying, but I think we all seem to be going in the same direction. And I just want to talk about just 5 things I think I have learned or have been reaffirmed when we look at the pandemic. And I think they are not new, but they've just been reaffirmed by that experience and also by what the other speakers have said today. And what I am taking away from the lessons last year is business is about people. Businesses don't do businesses with other businesses. People in businesses do business with other people in other businesses. So in the bank, it is a person. The credit manager is a person. Your customer is a person. You are a person. And in some way, I felt last year also taught us as businesses to bring humanity back, because we also saw in certain places, certain organizations where humanity had been lost is where, sorry, Waithaka, whose microphone is that? Okay, where humanity had been lost is where we actually had a lot of problems. And I think why for us has entrepreneurship in Centonomy been so important? Yes, we are about wealth creation. And even our flagship product, which is a personal finance, what we've learned is when one person gets their money right, 5 other people are empowered, whether it's because they go and pay a domestic house help, who goes and pays school fees, or they help somebody with school fees, or they buy from local goods and local businesses. So that's just one person. Now, when somebody starts a business, they employ people. So the effect of that is up to 30 people. So why it's so important that you're all here is because you all have the ability to impact 30 plus people, 30, 300, some 3 million. So together we create this domino effect of wealth creation, which our continent needs so much. So this is what I learned last year. First of all, we are all here to solve a problem. We are not here just to run businesses, but we've got to become crystal clear about the problem that we are actually solving. And sometimes if you're not clear about this, just go back to what disturbs you. And I remember when I started Centonomy, why I started it is because I used to go, I meet people, I hear conversations, and everybody was complaining about money. But more importantly, there was this victim mentality. I was not born in the right family. Or if I only lived in this country, money would not be a problem. Or if I only had money, and that bothered me. So I was going through my own financial challenges, but I didn't want to get swept up in the story of it is so bad that let's roll over and die. Yeah. So that's what bothered me. And that became the problem I wanted to solve. So we've got to start understanding what problem is it for your business. A lot of people know the good and services they are selling. They know they're a hairdresser, but they don't know the problem that they're solving. And then we end up doing business or trying to do business the same way our neighbor is doing businesses. So you could be a hairdresser and the general
Hi, Waceke, are you still there? I kind of lost Sheke at this moment. As we try and get her back, we will be sharing. Sheke, just let me know once you're back if you can hear me. Your video is still there. We can't see you as soon as you get back. Sometimes, yeah, these are the things that you go through. I can see some of the questions coming through. You wanted to know just how do you register once more. As we get Waceke back on the screen, I'll let you know. Once she's back, then we can be able to go. Those are the details for registration. Do let me know once you are, in case you've been thinking about registering. I told you it's on a discounted rate for the program, which starts on 16th February. Pay bill number is 986850. And please put in the account number is your name, your first name. So if it was my case, you'd write Waithaka and then ENT, and that'll allow us to recognize, and you'll get a full information from Ruby. You can see her contacts are on the screen there. 0700801112 or ruby@centonomy.com. She'll give you all the details about the program, how it works, what you get out of it. We have amazing tools that we share through the program. As you heard some of the entrepreneurs speaking about things like the business model canvas, we help you with tools that will help you with your pricing. We help you with tools that will help you to understand how does your business begin to break even. We help you with tools like your profit and loss. So as you start, all the lessons that you are learning from Nameless, Wahoo, and from Flora, you'll be able to see that they are integrated into the program, and you will have some insight even as you get into the program. I just wanted to say this, that no matter what we do, the journey of creating this business is a journey, and you can't escape that. So even with the knowledge that you're going to learn here, it simply puts you in a better position to begin to understand how the business is going to flow. So we're really would be grateful to have you in the program as well. And this is the idea. Human development has come from learning from other people's experiences. Now that Flora told you running a business is like jumping off a cliff and building the plane as you fall down, now you understand you can prepare yourself by carrying as much equipment as you possibly can to get there. And that's what the program actually begins to get. I've seen a few other items that were coming through. My team, if you can just let me know once Waceke is back in the room, it would be great. But just let me know once she's there. But I'll look through a couple of the questions that have come through, and it was quite interesting. This is Anne Musia, who's saying that, Waithaka, thank you for the content today. My question is, my business is in the information or the knowledge sector, reaching parents and teens. Would this entrepreneurship course work for such? Yes, because as I mentioned earlier, Anna, business is both a science and an art. And all businesses have to figure out the money side of it. I think if you listen to Flora, she said you have to guard your cash. The difference between a business and a hobby is money. And when we begin to talk about money in the class, we're being very specific. How is it that you build the financial structure around your business that allows it to grow? And if you listened to the entrepreneurs, as they were sharing with you, especially Flora, she was clear on that issue of protecting your money, understanding how cash works. When she mentioned that whole 90-day cycle, credit cycle, when you get into business, if you are prepared for that, you don't have to go through the issues that were faced around that, because you have prepared and you'll be aware when customers come to you, how do they interact with you at that level? And so each one of us has to have that general knowledge around business that will help you to begin to grow. Now, look, does that mean that there are people who haven't succeeded, having never attended a class like this? No, but what the class begins to do is it gives you the foundation, an easier track towards that foundation on which to build. I've seen some excellent other questions that are coming through, and shortly I'll be inviting us back, both Flora and the Madhenges, as they're being called now. I've seen a couple of people saying the Madhenges online, as to share your experiences as we wind up. I'm hoping Sheke will be able to get back on.
Yeah, I'm back. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
All issues, yeah.
That's all right. It happens.
Yeah.
I was just letting people know about the program as we go. Let me get you back on the screen. Just 1 second. There we go. Good. Now I think you can switch on your camera, and I'll let you back there.
Okay. Yeah.
Good. There you go. So go ahead. You were on your
What was I? Where did you last leave me? I'm sorry, everybody. Our Wi-Fi went, and Safaricom also seemed to go down the same time in my neighborhood. Yeah.
It happens. Let me tell you, it happens.
I don't know. Where did you leave me off? I was talking about problem solving.
Correct.
Yeah?
Correct. Yes.
So I just wanted to let me wind that point by just saying we've got to be crystal clear. Why does your business actually exist? And when you understand what you're solving, talk it up, be bold about it. Like at Centonomy, we understood, and it's getting very, very specific about it. We understood, for money, the problem we're solving is people are one paycheck away from a financial disaster. And then we started talking about that. We started understanding that the fact that only 20% of businesses survive past 5 years, yet we're in a country that relies on these businesses for employment, is a problem. And that's why we want to get businesses to be sustainable and to survive. And then when you start talking about it specifically, you understand who's on board, who's in my vehicle for this problem. Not everybody is going to be in your vehicle, because many times we're trying to attract the people, the partners who are not in your car. So you've got to understand, where is this car going? So don't go back and don't explain your business as a product and a service. What businesses are you solving? And that becomes the aha. When people listen to you, they're like, that's why they exist. Yeah. I think earlier Nameless was talking about the transition from passion to purpose. And that's really, really what it means when you actually do that. Secondly, this is something everybody has been said, be customer centric. And when I say that, I say be obsessed with your customer. If you look at your activities and you are spending more time doing other things rather than talking to your customer, then you're doing something wrong. And many times as businesses, we only talk to the customer when we're trying to sell them something. That is wrong. Yeah, that actually is the end result of a bigger relationship. So how often do you talk to your customer outside of selling? Why do you know why your customer actually buys from you and not anybody else? We had somebody who sells clothes, and when she did this design thinking exercise in our class, she realized that people come to her shop because they like the way she makes them feel. Those are the things you need to understand, because as people, we are very emotional. We make emotional decisions. And in the beginning, I was saying business is about people. We actually do business with people we like. Yeah. So why does your customer like you? Why is your music the one they're listening to? Why are your cakes the one that they are listening to? And then you'll understand, stop describing your customer as a demographic. We have to leave that. Where people say, who are your customer? Women. I'm a woman and I don't want to be described as a woman. I mean, you have to describe what are the traits. This is Waceke. She listens to this kind of music. She spends time here. She shops here. She's an introvert. Yeah. Also happy when Nameless talked about being an introvert, because here I'm team introvert. Then you're starting to understand me. So when we keep understanding my customer is youth, are all used the same. My customer are millennials. That millennial age group is so wide, you cannot actually quantify your customers. But when you start understanding the behavior traits of your customer, then you start, because you're saying your customer is not, many times people say, my product is needed by everybody. You may think that, but not everybody wants your product. So you're in it to get who is my tribe? Who are the people who believe what I believe? Yeah. And have I tested what I believe enough? Yeah. So stop describing your customer as population, low income, middle income. What are the behavior traits of that person? So then you understand what value you're selling and how many of those kind of people are there out there. So not everybody is for you, because when we spend too much time trying to get everybody, we actually waste time. Then for this becoming customer, come up with a list of things that you actually do and do them consistently. If you talk to your customer because you make phone calls, are you going to be making phone calls every week? If you talk to a customer online by writing blogs, are you going to write one blog every week? And during the pandemic, Waithaka, it was so interesting how many people became motivational speakers overnight. But by the end of the year, they were not there anymore, because if you're not doing it from an authentic place, whatever you're not doing, it has to be consistency. And it's only when you're passionate about something that you can be consistent with it. Yeah. So get obsessed about your customer. Go call them. Learn about them. Why do you come here? How can we improve? And start making that a structure. Thirdly, entrepreneurial cultures are the future. You cannot be the only entrepreneur in your organization. If you are, you're going to be burnt out. And when I was talking to a lot of people, a lot of businesses fail because the founder is burnt out. Why are they burnt out? It is humanly impossible to build a business where every day you are the one solving all the problems. You are the one coming up with all the ideas. You have to build an entrepreneurial culture in your organization. And that's the hard work. Hiring is not the hard work, but an entrepreneurial culture. I can tell you for free, this event, it's not me who has played any part. I can credit Ruby, who's our head of entrepreneurship, Tessie and Charity, who handle our PR and communications. I can credit Mike, who, when the president made his announcement, the next day we were all put in a Zoom learning class without being asked. Yeah. So I think when I say entrepreneurial culture, it's people who've bought into your vision, who've bought into the purpose, and that purpose has something in it for them as individuals, not just for the organization. So the benefit of having a team is not in the labor, but it is in the minds. Are you getting other minds to co-think, to co-create with you, to co-problem solve? Or are you getting people in so that you can keep telling them what to do? So that, are you paying people to think for them? That's a problem. So look at your team and say, if I'm just paying people so I can think for them and then they can execute things like robots, I might as well get a machine to do it. The reason I want a human being is the ability to think. So this will mean you create an environment that empowers those kind of people. For a long time, we debated about this flexi time. Lucky COVID came and we stopped debating about flexi time, yeah, anymore, because we are all officially on flexi time, yeah, at least that's Centonomy. And I don't think we're ever going to go back to it has to be 8 to 5. I know for some businesses that is what may work, but for ours, we're like, it is a service industry. We actually don't need to go back. The entrepreneurs we are working with, we don't need to be, if you need to go for a parents teachers meeting, you don't have to come and ask for permission. So entrepreneurial culture, it's about results, not how many hours we saw you at the office. So we've got to think about work very differently. Are you chasing results or are you chasing busyness? We do like being busy. Hey, where have you been? Busy. How come you didn't do this? Busy, busy, busy. But busy is not necessarily productive. And in an entrepreneurial culture, what you're looking for is productivity. That means you will hire differently. That means the questions you will ask in an interview are different. That means maybe the job interview takes 1 week because we're putting you said you can sell, we're putting you on the job. You said you can communicate, please write a full scap of something so I can see your communication. It may mean we come up with different pay structures because it's about that, yeah? There are some businesses I talked to last year where the first thing they did was let people go. But there are some businesses that survived the year where even though they could not pay people, the first thing they did was actually to call people round a table and say, this is the problem that we're having. This is what has happened. What do we do? Where we're now saying as a team, we're not boss employee, we're in it together. We're a family, we're in it together. So whether you're starting with one man, whether you have 5 people, whether you have 15 people today, start defining what is that culture for you. Fourth thing, get rid of the Superman, Superwoman syndrome. Yeah, you cannot do it alone. And you also have to take care of yourself. When we're saying business is about people, that business includes you. Yeah. I met people last year who are actually happy when the pandemic happened because they had an excuse just to shut down and actually rest. So when we're trying to be everything, we get too many people trying to be a square peg in a round hole. You don't take enough time. Look at your experience, your life experience, and connect the dots. What are you actually good at? Yeah. But what are the things that when you do it, you're in flow, you get energy, you get revived when you're doing them, but there are things you really struggle with. And this was what I learned, the things that you really struggle with, that you're thinking you have to do them. Somebody else, when they do them, that's when they are in flow. Yeah, that's when they have that energy. Yeah. So like I learned, and for a while I did a lot of things, but I learned I'm a more of a creative person. So in my business, I'm more of, let me come up with the ideas, let me come up with a strategy, let me come up with the content. That is the side of the business. I am not an operations person. I used to forget. I used to drop the ball. There were no systems. Everything was in my head. So I had to step back from that. And it's even in that stepping back when I said, even to bring more value to my business differently, I'm not going to be the CEO of this company. Yeah, it means also letting go of your ego, because sometimes we're holding on to so many things because of our ego. We've also got to change limiting beliefs that, oh, if I involve other people in whatever way you involve them in partnerships, employees, people will steal my idea or my business. We've got to let go of that limiting belief, because by holding on to that, how much more, what is the opportunity cost of that fear? Yeah. Or it's too expensive to hire, or the ego part, my business will fall apart without me. Yeah. We've got to start thinking, you as a founder, also what's in it for you to run this business? Were you after time? Were you after fulfillment? Were you after money? Because many times people run businesses and at the end of the day, they are so burnt out only to realize what they thought the business should be giving them is not giving them, because they did not put the structures in place. They did not put the people in place. So if you wanted to build a legacy, you're running a business in a way that it's not going to be a legacy, because it's not going to be a legacy if you're the only one who can run it. If you wanted time to spend with your family, yet you're the only one doing anything, so it's doing the exact opposite. So something that you are so passionate about, you can start resenting it and not understanding. And I know I'm speaking to certain people here, you're like, I started out and I was so passionate about it, but now when the phone rings, why am I so resentful? Investigate it. So we've got to also learn, take time to think. Stop, think, take a day and think. What do I want? How do I do it? How do I do it differently? I started doing this a long time ago and saying, I'm taking Monday off and I'm thinking. I'm not accepting phone calls. I'm not doing meetings. I'm not doing email. And that led to a lot of the changes. Even when early on, when I started my business, at first I was doing one-on-one financial planning. I meet you, I resolve your problem. But when I stepped back and took time to think, I realized the last 10 clients I saw, 80% of their problems were the same. So why can't I put these 10 clients in one room together so that my 2 hours are spent with 10 people rather than 2 hours one person, 2 hours another person, 2 hours another person, 2 hours another person. So it's instead of just thinking about return on money as entrepreneurs, we've also got to start thinking about return on time. And why time? Because it doesn't matter how much money someone has or how much little money somebody has, it's still 24 hours a day. So actually, when we talk about scale and growth, we're talking about, is your return on time bigger? Yeah. And that's why we're talking about bringing in other people, focusing your strengths on what will provide the most value. The most value I can bring for my business is going out there and building the networks. It's mentoring the team so that they can do certain things. That's the most value I can bring in my business. It is not me sitting down to do everything, because that return on time, I still have 24 hours a day, and I still have, God knows, there's still a day that has been marked when I will depart this earth. So it's about return on time. So when you do that, you now step back, you start looking at what are the processes needed for actually that growth to happen. So get rid of the Superman, Superwoman syndrome and take care of yourself. The last one, the fifth thing, most important, is money. Yeah. People have been sometimes business 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, but we meet them and they're in the same cycle. The survival cycle. I talked about it as one of the problems we say we solve in Centonomy. We realize that paycheck to paycheck lifestyle is not sustainable, but many businesses also live on a paycheck to paycheck. If the customer doesn't pay, the business falls apart, the founder, their lives falling apart. Yeah. And I think we learned it more than ever last year. That cycle is not sustainable, where you're holding on by a thread and anything at any point. So we've got to start thinking and looking at our business models and start thinking, what do I need to change here? So how do I get 100 customers, not as a one-off, but 100 customers per month sustainably? What is the team I need to have? What is the marketing infrastructure I need to have? What are the partnerships I need to have? And you may have to sacrifice chasing today's 10 clients so that you can get next week's 100 clients. And that's sometimes the discipline we need to have, because whenever we are caught up in survival, and if we are only doing survival, you will only get survival. So I understand survival is part of the game, but I'm not telling you after this, go and don't do survival. But I'm just saying, if 100% of your time is only on survival, do you realize that next month survival will appear? The next month after survival will appear, because if you only think and do survival, you will only get survival. So I'm now saying, be conscious and saying, I may do 80% of my week survival, but I'm going to take this one day to do the networking Flora was talking about. Yeah. To do the design thinking in our Wahu we're talking about. Yeah. I'm just going to take one day and follow up on this partnership. It may not come in today. Yeah, but it may come in next year. I can tell you for free, some of the consistent work we're now getting in Centonomy is because of conversations we started 3 years ago, and we kept knocking the door. But if you're only doing things, and I think a lot of people discount the stuff that is not going to come through today because of today. Yeah. And as you're transitioning as an entrepreneur, you will realize your value. My value is no longer in the day-to-day. My value is in looking at the things that are 10 years from now. This is what is going to be happening in the education sector. This is how financial literacy is going to play a part in the education sector, and starting those conversations now. But we've got to understand, what is that? What do I sacrifice today to build the tomorrow? Yeah. If I have to pay somebody else to do it today, even if I'm not paying myself, I will pay them. Yeah, because I'm after tomorrow. And that's where vision actually comes in. It changes how you hire. It changes the things you start to let go of. Yeah. And to do this, to get out of this survival cycle, we have to own and change our relationship with money. We've got to understand what is money. Money is the fuel, but it is not the car. So design the car and then money will follow. Money does not direct, it follows. So when now money comes in, you do it the right way. First of all, as an entrepreneur, you learn to spend to earn. Yeah. Many times we think about money as, let me earn it. If I earn $1 million today, our minds completely go to how to spend it. But your mind should be, what do I need to spend so that I make $1 million? Yeah. And then when the $1 million comes in, okay, to do the 10 million, what do I have to do? To do the next level, what do I actually have to do? But when we are out earning to spend, then when the $1 million comes, you remove it out of your business and you go and buy a car, then you wonder next month why you can't pay salaries. Yeah. So I've learned as an entrepreneur, for us, it's never about the show. People do have this myth about entrepreneurs that they should be driving this sort of car, they should look this certain way, they should live in this certain shape. But I've learned it's not about the show at all. Yeah. All these myths about let's not pay ourselves so that we don't have to pay tax. Evading tax is small thinking. Stealing is small thinking. taking the quick, easy, corrupt, dealy, small thinking. It may look big now, but it really, really, really is a scarcity mentality. So I think we go, this topic of scarcity mentality, we really talk about it in the class, but we cannot approach money with a scarcity mentality. You cannot approach a kind of business just because we are titled SMEs, does not limit you to the kind of business you can approach, the kind of thinking that you can do, the kind of vision that you can actually have. So to wind up today, what I've really talked about is just bringing a sense of humanity back into business. But I also want to say everything people have talked about today, even the 5 things I've talked about today, it does not matter the size of the business. It doesn't matter whether you're starting out, whether you've been in 10 years. These are things you can actually start doing immediately. I think this is the time where we're going to see small businesses have such an impact that even though we are labeled small, if we do business differently with a sense of humanity, with a sense of sustainability, with a proper definition of what an actual great business is, I think in a couple of years, we'll be looking at some phenomenal stories and have seen businesses go to the next level in many different ways. The things we underestimate, like having a team culture. So you're sitting here and you're thinking you're small, but you have the ability to create such a powerful team culture that an organization that maybe has 5,000 employees will struggle to have. So don't think about yourself too small, because what we want people to be saying is this company is, wow, they're thinking about the bigger problem. Some of you, when you start defining your bigger problems, you'll even start seeing how you're relating to sustainable development goals, how you're relating to Vision 2030. And when you start talking about yourself from a problem solver perspective, people get attracted to you. You want people to say, gosh, I'm going to that hairdresser because they understand me so well. They understand their customers so well. You want people to say they have a great team. You want people to say they are authentic. This is an authentic person all around. You get what you see and you get it consistently. I don't pretend to be something else today, something else tomorrow. You want investors to say, I'm interested in this business because it has proved to be a sustainable business model. Yeah. So I'm just encouraging you guys, think about wherever you are in the business, just take it from me, your business is a lot bigger than you actually think it is. It is a lot more important than you actually think it is. It is providing for a lot more people because you have, as an entrepreneur, you have a significant multiplier effect. And let's just take these businesses, change our mindsets and do them and build great businesses together. And the kind of businesses Flora was talking about, where it's people from America, it's people from the West now importing this. When we talk about brands and great companies, we're not just going to be talking about Netflix, Uber, Google, and Apple. We're going to be talking about Melvin still. We're going to be talking about Centonomy. We're going to be talking about all the businesses that are represented here today. And those stories are going to be carried forward. Thank you.
Wow. As always, excellent, brilliant. I'll invite Wahu and Nameless, if you can come back on the screen. Flora as well, you're welcome to join us as we end this session today. I've gone a little bit over time. Thank you so much for sticking with us. But it's because the content was so hot. In fact, if you look at the questions that have been coming on all the platforms, just a huge thank you. Waceke, this is Nerima, who wrote, money does not direct, it follows, right? And so we need to follow on that. She also, there's someone else here, Margaret, who said, speaking to me, that whole Superman syndrome, I'm taking the message seriously. We have to watch over such things. To the Madenges, that's what you have been christened here. I've seen so many people have been speaking to you. Last word from you as we go, as we check out.
Yo, Waceke was talking to me the time. You're like, I'm sure I'm talking to you. I was just like,
yes.
Yes. Oh man, it's been amazing, and Flora as well. You know,
I've taken lots of
we've
notes.
taken notes here. We were like trying to answer and also trying to hear more. So thanks for having us. It's been a blessing, and we, as you said, we believe that many people here are going to grow and do amazing stuff. So thanks again for having us.
Thank you so much. I've learned so much, and thanks for the forum. Yeah.
Listen, guys, this information, we've just had a taste today What's amazing is that we also recognize that cash flow is so important. So if you can be able to manage it a little bit better, it's easier. So we have the Lipa Pole Pole program. It's only available right these last 2 days of the month. If you can start with that, then you can be able to flow over to next month and the next month as it is, as you can see on the screen. So still register today at the 1,100 shillings just today. After that, it'll go back up to the 2,100. So we're trying to get you guys a good discount as we move forward. Finally, if you were looking for the details on how to register for the program, they're there. Flora, I see you now. You're back on the screen. Did you have a final word before we head out?
I think just stay the course. It's never easy, but there's always a silver cloud in every lining. Was it the other way around?
The other way.
But
silver lining to every cloud. Yes.
Yes. So just stay the course, and eventually it works.
Yes.
It eventually works out.
Excellent, excellent, excellent. Thank you so much. We're so encouraged. Waceke,
nobody said entrepreneurship is easy, but neither is working for someone. It's never easy. So I always find people, oh, it's not easy. No, it's not. But life is not easy.
Yeah. It's for people who are tough. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So to everybody, for your time, for being with us, we are so grateful. In case you need any more extra information about the program, please reach out to ruby@centonomy.com. Right there on the screen. You can go to our website, centonomy.com. There's lots of more information, free material, great webinars like what we've done just now. But I'm encouraging you, make the decision right now. Register for the class. It'll make a huge difference in your life along the way. It has been a pleasure to host you here. I'll be looking through some of the questions and trying to respond to them right now. But one more big thank you to the Madenges, Nameless, Wahu. Big thank you to Waceke, and a big thank you to Flora Mutahi. I'm looking forward to my cup of Melvins after this. Guys, have a wonderful weekend and God bless you all. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.